Hi, and welcome to Thursday Movie Flashback. My name is Lawrence, Larry Punk, whatever you want to call me. And today, as always, my my co-host, Matthew. How are you doing?
I'm here. I'm doing well.
Let's just get right into it. How did your May the Power of the Force video go? Since we are celebrating May the Power of the Force.
It was a crash and burn. You know, I was high pressured into it and thought I had something I could do, but I just don't have the equipment to make a proper video the way that I would want it to present to people. And so it didn't get finished.
Girls, do you hear
So
that? Matthew does not have the proper equipment to make things. Well, I can't let you off the hook just because you're the moderator and the co-host of
nope,
this. Um,
absolutely not.
Speaky Moistly took a little bit. You know who else didn't take any that got away uh, was one of the biggest people that was cheering it, and that was Oz. Uh,
Ooh.
yes, I understand his computer died, but a
Uh,
simple "Hey, I can't do this" would have been nice. Oh well, it was all for fun. It's not like anyone was getting paid for this. Um, I mean, I think there were still people up until when we were doing it. Were like, "Hey, how do you want me to send this to you?" I'm like, "I'm not putting it on my channel."
yeah, no.
I'm not asking people to do content, and then it's like, "Hey, send it over to me."
Yeah, no. That would take even longer.
Um, Thank you very much, Tatsy. Just showing my proof that I subbed to this channel. We're up to 97 people now, so we're almost about to hit that 100 mark. Um,
Hey, you guys asked for this and we started doing it. So,
yeah, and I was actually talking to Matthew about it, and I think we're gonna try and change some things up. We both admit that we're not on this regularly. We do need to create some consistent content. Would anyone like to create content for this? They're more than welcome to.
hey,
This
you
is
know
what
what?
I
I
should have
might,
had everyone. I should have had everyone send it, and I should have put the May the Power of the Force videos here.
right. Yep. There you go. I might start doing some short form stuff if I can figure this editing thing out on this newfangled software. Because I haven't done video editing since the 90s and early 2000s. But if I can figure that out, I might be doing some videos over here and then tying that in with Pop Blender and working that in with our stuff.
Yeah, and I mean we've discussed it. We've discussed it before. Um, I've discussed it before. We spend a lot of time in this chair. You don't even realize how much time. And I shouldn't even say that because most of you, Crusty Crow is here. Obviously the toy enhancer. Everyone is doing content, so they're getting that idea of how much time you spend creating that no one ever sees. And again, it's not for you to understand, but it kind of gives you an idea of how much a movie is made or a TV show, and it's like how
Yeah.
much stuff they do that never ever ever gets done. Krusty says, "I love to do some film opinion stuff." Hey, I would love to figure something out. Again, I don't want people to just create content for a
Well,
channel that I've
and
created,
and
but
Krusty, there are going to be some times when Pop and I are out, and we might need another co-host to fill in on a Tuesday sometime.
yeah, it's so difficult. I mean, it's obviously a little off topic, but I know. Um, Take a second and tell everyone, all six people that are here. But there'll be a few more people that watch it. What you and Pop Linder are doing, because I know I was listening to Aaron the toy enhancer, and he was saying these things about switching days because it's getting kind of busy, and I don't think you should do that. If Tuesday works for you, like for him,
Yeah,
he shouldn't switch just because uh, Ed is
yeah,
going, and then you're going, but you guys aren't really touching toys. You're talking other things. So
yeah. So I mean, we've been talking pop culture stuff. We've been talking comic books. We've been talking TV shows and movies. That's mostly what we're talking about. We're going to get into some other stuff later because there's some conventions that I'm going to this summer that would be of topic. But yeah, we're getting together on Tuesday evenings and we're just talking about some latest news, some movie stuff, that kind of thing.
Wait a minute. Did you hit a button on accident?
I I did not hit anything. That was you. I heard a click on your end.
No, my hands aren't anywhere near anything. That's like, and then I just saw
Neither.
it happen because I have the video.
Yeah, I don't know what that was because I touched nothing. My hands weren't touching anything.
I didn't think so. That was weird.
But yeah, so we're just hitting some of that. We'll talk about toys occasionally, but that's not the focus of it. It's more of the pop culture aspect of things.
Yeah, and again, like I still think we can only talk. We can only talk so much toys, in my opinion. At least I can. I watch YouTube all day, but I don't watch toy stuff all day because I'm
Yeah.
driving. And,
Yep.
I was on with the Elite Series. And that would be, I think, going out next Friday. Yeah, and I said, I feel bad because I've got to know so many people, but I cannot watch everyone's. I can't watch everyone's live stream. I can't watch everyone's content. And I consider so many of you guys friends, and I kind of feel bad, but it's like I cannot hear the exact same
Yeah.
toy talk that I'm talking about.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and again, here I'm kind of hoping that people watch my stuff, but it's just like I can't do it all day. Um,
Krusty, that's a good suggestion there. We might have to dive into that movie sometime.
um,
I love that movie when it came out. Where I had it on VHS, I wore that VHS out until like The Matrix came out and stuff like that, and blew that one away.
I don't believe I've ever seen The Lawnmower Man.
I forgot the name of the actor who was in it, but it was kind of like the kickoff to his roles, and it was really, really rudimentary CGI stuff that was done in there. It was all about the virtual world and the guy getting absorbed from a mentally deficient human being to a genius because his brain got sucked in and modified by the computer.
Oh, I wish a lot of people.
Oh
I wish some people in power that could happen to.
yeah. Anyway.
But so no, check out what you guys are doing this on Pop Blender's channel, correct?
Mm-hmm. Pop Blender, yep.
So again, there's just so many people that we've got to know are now putting out content, and it's I don't know how you do it. You're on so many of them, and you're in the chat, and I feel like today I really should have done another gridiron video. I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do it.
I only sleep about 5 hours a day, so the rest of the time I'm doing something.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do the same thing. Although I was telling you I took a nap, and sure enough, I woke. The alarm went off, and I didn't know where I was, what the alarm was going off for. Work gets you stressed out as it is. So,
what up, 3-star?
My stuff doesn't go away. It's I don't get to pass it on to anyone else. I am the head tech, so
yeah.
And Darren is here. Let's go in the desert. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. We're getting to it. You watching anything, Punk? Seen anything recently?
No, I actually haven't. I'll see like little clips for stuff, and then I totally forget about it. I'm like, I gotta watch that, and then I completely forget about it. I wanted when my daughter was here last, I wanted to really rewatch the Meet the Robinson. I just keep having it in my head, the whole dinosaur thing, where that wasn't thought out right because his hands were too small. And when I said, "Hey, you want to watch something?" and she's like, "We're gonna watch more Buffy," and I was like, "Yeah, all right."
Well, Buffy's awesome, so yeah.
Oh yeah, and the fact that because we had started watching it, I have to say this: rewatching it, the first season of Buffy is a hard watch.
Well, it's easier to watch than the movie.
Boy, yeah, it's a completely different. And so my daughter and I have both adopted the same thing you and I talked about when we watch some of these movies. Eh, we're not really gonna we're not gonna worry about logic.
Yeah.
Like why is there never anyone in the library? Why does no one question the librarian is always talking to these three students?
Right. Yep.
Why does no one say no one is
And
going to
after
school
hours
anymore?
also.
Okay, so now that is something that came up, and I called Olivia down, and of course, after I called her, I went, "Oh boy," and she caught it right away.
Yep.
But in California, they have open classrooms,
Mm.
so it might not be that big of a stretch to think that he has a key, he can access that library anytime. But she said something after I called her down, was like, "But they're always walking in the hall." I was like, "Yeah, damn it." They are always walking in the hall. And as we know, California doesn't always have, hallways. They're outside, which is
Yep.
strange, but I watch enough skate videos to watch them skating down the hallway on Saturdays and Sundays because all they have is this cover.
Yep.
Um,
Viper Scout, just curious, what season are you guys watching? Because I think I saw the first two. I didn't know if there's any more beyond that. I actually liked it. They thought they did a good job. My daughter loves it, and it was a good watch with her too. So the new Ducktales with David Tennant.
oh, I didn't
But
even know. I was never really into Ducktales. I never, but I want to say about the Buffy. So we were watching it, and again in season two, and there's a lot of things that you realize, like you really realize how underpowered Angel was in
mm,
the beginning because they didn't know how much they were going to use him. Uh,
yep.
he he said just finished two, one more to go.
Okay.
Um, and so I had to look it up, and I said episode 14 is when it all happened. I said that's when everything changes, and she's like, what?
Mm,
So she wanted to watch it, and I think we're on like episode 5 or so. So when she's over next, we'll do a little marathon and get
yeah.
to episode 14 because that's when everything changes. Because
Yep.
I keep seeing, Mrs. Calendar, and I'm like, yeah, she's not long for this world.
Yeah. Well, and you got to roll that right into the Angel series also, because I actually thought Angel was even better written
I
than
like
Buffy was.
I like the Angel better to be 100% awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, and you at the time I didn't think so. I said, "Oh no, David Boreanaz is doing his own thing. This is totally chick flick thing, whatever." But then you watch it, and it's like, "Oh wow, no, this is good." And the puppet episode still has to be one of the greatest episodes of television ever.
Yeah, but by the time Angel started, Buffy is so established that
Yep.
the first two seasons, and if I remember correctly, after episode 14, and I don't want to do any spoilers, but after episode 14, everything changes in Buffy.
Yep.
And the character of Angel, again, when I look back at it, it's like, why is he so underpowered? And I think they did a wonderful job throughout the whole series, but once you realize what he is,
Yeah.
like when you try and watch the first season before they established it, you're like, oh, but after that, you're like, okay, this guy was just ruthless.
Yep.
But she kept laughing at Drusilla.
Yeah.
She's like, what is wrong with her?
Yeah. Exactly.
He drove her crazy. Did he drive her
Yep.
crazy before or after she became a vampire? But
So yeah, I mean, I talked about it on Pops, but took my daughter to see Garfield, and that was fun. And then
yeah,
we
I heard
saw
you talking
Iron
about that a little
Claw,
bit.
and then we saw Iron Claw because it was on HBO Max, whatever stupid name change they made. Both were really good for what they were supposed to be, even though they got some stuff historically wrong in Iron Claw. They did it for story reasons.
Krusty says Whedon did a Buffy season 8 comic series after the
Yep.
show ended. It was epic. Um,
Yeah, I mean, he did what through season 11, I think, in the comics. The quality faded after time. They were okay. Uh, the last season or so of Buffy also wasn't that great, but still, overall, that entire show is awesome and far superior to a lot of things out today.
Oh yeah, the biggest issue came with Buffy and Angel was when Buffy went to the went to the WB or what
Mm-hmm.
went to network, and they couldn't cross over the characters anymore. Even though they were both being done by Whedon, they were all on the same set. Hell, Atlas and Hannigan and the other guy are married, and they can't be on the show together because they were at two different networks. And until Buffy ended, they couldn't do anything.
Wow. Well,
If you remember when Buffy dies, um,
because it
they
was
go.
on Paramount before, wasn't it?
It was on a W or CW and the WB, and
Oh,
then Buffy
okay.
went to Fox. Buffy went to Fox. That's what it was. So they couldn't be on the. So they
Okay.
couldn't cross over. So actually, what had happened in the episode where Buffy dies, at the end of the Angel season, Willow is there waiting, probably because she was married to who was the other guy? Who is she married to? The other Watcher for Faith.
Not Niles.
Was it not? Is that what his name was?
Oh, I don't.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
Giles was Buffy's, and then when Faith came on, she had her own Watcher.
Yeah, wasn't that Niles?
Is that what his name was? I don't remember. Um,
I don't. I
but
haven't
she,
watched it. I haven't watched it in 20 years. I need to though.
well, actually, there's lots of reasons why. Wesley, that's it. Thank you.
Wesley, there you go. Sorry. Yeah.
He was, yeah, and then Viper Scout says it, and
Yep.
but yeah, so I thought that was really good. Again, I can go on and on about Buffy. I think that's something we might have to
Well,
talk about after.
and
Quickly, I want
Wesley
to
was a
say
far better watcher. Wesley was a far better watcher.
Giles is so bad at the beginning, but
Yep.
as he goes along, you kind of forget those first two seasons. Like he's actually a badass, where Wesley was really, really bad. Like
Yeah.
he was basically Giles.
Yeah, but when they first brought in Wesley, he was goofy and weird or whatever, finding his way. But he had some really interesting character arc through his time.
Yeah, the Angel TV show becomes like it's other than Angel, it's all the oddballs thrown into it, but it works. You don't think Cordelia is going to work, but it actually really works because of who she is. Woody, I
Yep.
want to say I started watching your episode with Elite series. Really good, really good.
Nice job.
This
Yeah.
guy has. I don't know how he didn't have the internet till like 2008.
Snow Wolf, the music episode is the basis of great television but the only person who has ever done it correctly is Joss Whedon. No one else has ever done a musical episode that worked like that episode of Buffy. Everybody else has tried it because they want to be Whedon-esque, but they have all failed miserably, in my opinion.
I should have started by saying we started watching Buffy. We'll probably watch Angel later.
Yeah.
And I need to preface this by saying Joss Whedon is a very mean person. I don't want anyone to watch it and think that he's a good person. He was mean. He yelled at people.
Yep. And then he did that one Nathan Fillion, Neil Patrick Harris musical. Was it Captain Hammer or whatever that was? That was so fun too. That was like a 40-minute music video or something between the two of them. One of them is a big dumb superhero that's got a hammer on his chest, and the other's the evil genius that's trying to stop him and stuff. It was
And
really
Neil Patrick Harris.
yeah. It was really fun.
Don't get me started on Neil Patrick Harris. That guy. Talk about a guy that you would think that anyone that was Doogie Howser would never have come back. But when he came back in Harold and Kumar as himself, even though everyone knew that he was gay and he didn't act gay as himself.
Right. Yeah, How I Met Your Mother. I mean, come on,
Yes.
man. He's an incredible actor. Doctor Horrible sing along blog. Yes, yes, Viper Scout. Thank you for reminding me. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've seen that. That was hilarious.
How I Met Your Mother. I'm just gonna say this: there has never been a gay actor that has played a womanizer better than Neil Patrick Harris.
I mean, right?
You
That we
know,
know of. Well, I
I
mean,
guess
there's always Rock Hudson.
yes, but as someone that we knew was gay,
Yeah.
there's usually a gay character plays gay characters now.
Well,
I,
because they're not allowed to act anymore. You have to be what
yeah,
you are
I
playing.
was I was completely shocked watching Modern Family to realize that Eric wasn't Eric the redhead, that he's the actual real gay person in real life. I'm like, no fucking way. There's no way that the other guy is not the real gay one. um, but it worked.
Yep.
But Neil Patrick Harris, and again, you're right. That's acting.
Yeah. Exactly.
You don't have to be. I mean, I guess if you're a Mexican, you have to kind of be a Mexican. You can't not be. But the Rock has been white animated characters. He's in
Yeah, but
space
he's still the
too.
Rock. But he's still the Rock. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he's
know,
never
but
been anything but the Rock in
yeah, I know,
any
but I'm saying
portrayal.
he's in that one animated movie where he's an astronaut and it's a complete white guy,
Yeah.
and you're like, that's the Rock though. Like, that's his voice.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get on it with it?
I guess we should.
Well, we're going to be
So
talking about Spaceballs, the Mel Brooks movie that he got permission to make with one caveat: no merchandising.
is that true?
Yeah. So he was not allowed to merchandise anything from the movie. I think the only thing that they got away with was the novelization that Darren told me about. 3 Star said he picked that up at a book fair. Um, I didn't know there was a novelization of Spaceballs, but that's even funnier. And it wasn't until some independents came by and made some knockoff toys later on, and that Dallas Vintage Toys post that you showed me had a yogurt
Yes.
in carbonite. um, but yeah, so that was the deal, and that's why there's that big joke in there. Is he was not allowed to merchandise anything, and that's how Lucas said you can use whatever you want.
Oh wow, I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Uh, I am going to reiterate before we start, and this is something I've said since I was younger. I think that this movie is hilarious when it comes to Spaceballs, but the good guys, I could cut them all out and not care.
Well, didn't Dark Helmet phrase it perfectly?
Good will never triumph over evil because
Because good is dumb.
yes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Spaceballs make the movie. When you get
Yeah.
the end, and, oh shit, there goes the planet.
I had forgotten about that. It's like not that I've forgotten about that, but I had when it came that part, I'm like, how fitting is that we're watching this when the new movie is just being released? So
The new pointless movie that didn't need to be made, and anyway.
ooh, I think Ed would disagree with you.
If you like it, that's great. But that trilogy ended so perfectly. This is very superfluous. It doesn't advance the story in any way. And it might have some nice set pieces or whatever, but it's rehashing kind of what was already been done for, since the 70s. There's nothing else there.
My son just went and watched the movies. I think he wants to go see
The fourth one.
I don't even remember exactly what's going on with it.
So, I mean, the trilogy that they made from the new Planet of the Apes movies was good, and it ties in perfectly. And where it ends is kind of where the 70s movies started. And so they even make reference to it in there about the space launch and stuff like that. So, there's some crossover there that you could say that this is the timeline that leads up to that
Yeah,
1970s movies.
Oh, so I know people getting mad. Didn't they kind of do the same thing with the Marky Mark one? Like when he goes back, he ends up.
Yeah,
I think they hint that he
you
ends
know
up
what?
right
That
at the
movie was
beginning.
so bad I tried to forget all of it
I like
because it
that
was
movie.
just so terrible. And Charlton Heston at the end is the that was, I mean, it had its moments, but it just was terrible. And I'm glad it disappeared.
Um,
Yeah,
3 stars.
exactly.
Like, we're never getting Spaceballs 2 to search for more money. I don't know, dude. We've seen when some of these sequels come out.
You know what? Disney might license it right back to Mel Brooks to do it right now. At this point, they got to make some movie off of Star Wars. Uh,
All right. So
there was an animated series, though. There was an animated series that was done in early, 2007 or 8, that was done on, what was that? The IGN network or the GameFly or something like that. It was one of the gaming network put it out.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So it starts with an opening crawl. I'm not even going to attempt to read it. You can read it if you want. I am not, because you guys have heard my reading more than enough. But
Yeah.
it starts off
It's good.
very, very Star Wars esque.
It starts off with chapter 11.
Yes. And again, kind of what I said that they should have done with Star Wars, just gone way, way into the future and not worried about the past.
If
What do I know?
they
I
had
don't
gone
make
in there and done Star Wars Legacy, people would have eaten it up. They would have loved it. They would have gone so far in the future. It's the very last Skywalker. He's a drugged out Force user pirate, and he's trying to find his way in the world and stop the next Sith Empire from rising. And the story's phenomenal.
he's a junkie on crack.
He totally was, man.
And,
He was on
and,
all kinds of drugs to stop the
and,
Force. He didn't want to feel the Force because every time he did, Luke Skywalker would come and bug him.
and rather than may the Force be with you, is what he says crack is whack. Crack is whack. He's high on crack. So anyway, we get the opening crawl, and then we get.
Well, at the end of the opening crawl has one of my favorite gags of all time. If you can read this, you don't need glasses. I don't know. That always caught me as it's going up and it's disappearing, and then right at the end, this one little line pops up to see if anybody else was still watching. If you can read this, you don't need glasses.
So it starts off with the ship
and the Jaws music.
Okay, so this ship, it starts off. It takes 1 minute and 38 seconds to get to the end.
It seems so much longer than that.
I went back and I timed it.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Well, till from the beginning, right when you see it, to where you can fully see everything on, it's 1 minute and 38 seconds.
Do you know why it feels so much longer than that? Because of the Jaws musical cues. Because they build the crescendo like you're going to see the end, and then no.
And then it starts again. And they make reference to how long this ship is throughout the movie.
Yep.
Which I absolutely love.
And it's all a model too. It's an amazing model that they built.
But did we break for nobody? Which we know because we found that out later on in the show. So we get
Colonel Sanders chicken. Colonel Sanders. We get to meet him first. Sergeant Rico.
We have Dark Helmet that enters.
And you gotta love his tie.
Yes.
His cock and ball tie.
He's so awesome in this. Like he really is.
This is a great role for him.
He's such an underwhelming physically imposing person.
Yeah.
Like you really, I mean, it would have been hard to get someone, because even when you see like Peter Dinklage and stuff, yeah, he's small, but he doesn't come off as this weakling,
right?
That's why he actually worked with in X-Men, right? But
yeah,
Rick Moranis isn't like that.
Rick Moranis has an amazing personality, and he's very meek, for lack of a better term. And he's played that up in a lot of his roles. And, being Dark Helmet, trying to be imposing, but failing at it every turn. It's hilarious.
And the other thing that is funny is because we've seen this movie so many times, you stop forgetting how big the helmet is. You know what I mean? Like you stop, like you start to forget how overly sized it actually is.
Compensating much?
Yes.
I can't breathe in this thing. You went over my helmet.
Which is, and then the guy is like, no, what to the side?
Well, you see this guy's eagerness to want to help, and Colonel Sanders appreciates him, doing the next thing and without being ordered to. But he's like, no, I'm an authoritarian. You went over my helmet? No, more to the side. No.
So this is the first time we get to see what the Schwartz is used for.
Yeah. And everybody's freaking out. They're going to their neck, and then all of a sudden he shoots somebody in the groin.
The fact that Colonel Sanders won't look at it.
But his faces that he's making.
Yeah.
Oh, he's totally into it.
But this is the same thing that happens on the Star Destroyer. When they're not looking at him choke out.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's kind of looking up like, okay.
Yep. Yeah, but Sanders is getting off on it. You can see it in his face. If you watch his lips and his eyebrows, and he's like, oh.
So now throughout the movie, everyone is always covering their crotch.
Yes.
Which doesn't look like it really helps.
Right? It's not. I mean, it's going to go right through it. I don't know why you're doing that, but yeah. And then the new salute is the cover the groin salute. And now we go to Mr. Radar and Mr. Coffee. Everybody knows I have coffee when I watch the radar.
And honestly, the only reason why I knew Mr. Coffee is because I didn't drink coffee. My mom passed away when I was younger, but my dad told me like when my grandmother would buy everything off QVC, and he goes, she bought one time like 7 Mr. Coffees because they were on sale. So she always had like Mr. Coffees to give people for Christmas.
Yeah.
The only reason why I knew what a Mr. Coffee was.
And everybody says, everybody knows I drink coffee while watching radar. And they go, of course we do, sir.
Everyone. He says we never find out exactly what is going, what he's doing to their crotch either. Yes, right? It's very true too.
I mean, everybody else seems to be in pain, but somehow I think Colonel Sanders would be okay with it.
And look at that outfit; it's pretty awesome.
And now we get a bunch of exposition. Then we get hot, too hot.
Oh yeah. That's when he spits the coffee out into
his helmet as it closes. And then the first intergalactic temple reformed of the Druids, and obviously we're making plays on Druish or Jewish people, and then you have Prince Valium. This guy's hilarious in so many things, but him being Prince Valium.
What else is he in? Because I know I've seen him in other things.
He's been in a lot of different things, and he always generally plays a somewhat flamboyant character.
Because when I see him, I think of Ed McGuinness from
Married with Children. Yeah, of course we do, right?
Yeah, that's what I think of it. I think of Married with Children. But the fact that he's always passing out, he's always yawning. He so doesn't care that he's getting married or who he's getting married to. Which I've never been married. I'm just going to assume that's how it is anyway.
Yeah, he's been in things like Glee and a bunch of different TV shows.
Really?
A lot of little roles. here and there. Roseanne. He had Roseanne. That's probably where most people know him from. That's the first place I think I saw him. Seinfeld.
God,
Alf.
what was in Roseanne?
He was on Alf.
See, I couldn't tell you anything other than the main characters in Elf.
Well, he was kind of one of the main. Well, he was one of the main reoccurring characters
Okay.
because he was in a bunch of episodes.
3 stars. So Jim J. Bullock.
Yep.
That's his name.
Yep.
Hollywood Squares.
Oh yeah, he was big on Hollywood Squares.
He's a vlogger reporter.
All right. Yeah. No, yeah, he's been funny in most things that I've seen him in. So.
He was in Spaceballs. That's what I know.
Yep. Spaceballs. Prince Valium. Perfect.
I know. All right.
And so we have Princess Vespa and Princess Valium. I mean Prince Valium.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I have. Yeah, so for that one. Yeah, and she's clearly getting ready to run out. Like she does not want to be in this wedding.
Total runaway bride.
She wants to get married for love, which is stupid. We all know it.
And her father's like, "Well, he's the last prince in the galaxy."
Because that makes sense.
Because that makes total sense. And then she gets in. She runs away to her Mercedes with Dot Matrix following behind.
Which I don't think a lot of people realized what a Dot Matrix was at that time.
Of course. Well, okay.
I mean, kids didn't. I mean, I know I didn't know
I
what
did.
Dot Matrix was. I didn't. But I didn't have a computer I didn't have a computer till the late 90s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my mom she was one of the first women in the 1980s in the tech industry. So we had computers and we had Dot Matrix stuff at home because that's how I did homework assignments sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you when I started my job, we used to fix Okidata.
Oh, yeah.
Okidata fax machines. But I was the only one that worked on Okidata Dot Matrix. The 320s, the 321s, the 393s, 393 plus. I don't know why I remember these. People still use them to this day. I was the only one that they would send out to fix them because I had done it before. I'm like, probably just needs a printhead.
You're right.
That's all that.
But we see her brand new Mercedes spacecraft with moonroof, with all leather interior. Very nice. He got a great deal from his cousin Murray. And so she runs away with Dot Matrix and takes off. And then we get the rock and roll Winnebago Eagle 5.
Yeah.
I love Uranus.
Yes. That's what it is. Uranus.
Uranus. Yes, that's it.
3 star says, I had no idea Dot Matrix was other than a computer related. We didn't know one until after I was out of high school for 2 years. Yeah, and most people didn't. I mean, very few people had the Dot Matrix anyway because you had to have the everyone knew the paper. Everyone knew the special paper that a Dot Matrix used.
Yep.
Because it was so cool to tear the sides off.
As a kid, yeah, so much fun. As an adult, screw that.
Yeah. I think most people think that's what the dot actually stands for, but it's not.
No, it's the pixelated lettering. Yes.
So we get this here. They get a call to. Well, no, actually, they get a call from.
Yeah, so so you see the dog eating his food, his dog chow, and the captain wakes up from his nap and the call's coming in and he's like, "Barf!" And then you realize that's his name. He wasn't actually getting ready to throw up. And I was like, well, maybe he smelled the dog food. And he's like, always when I'm eating. So I always assumed that it was because he could smell the dog food and that made him sick. And that's why he said barf the way he did. Oh. And that's why he's like, always when I'm eating, grabs the dog biscuits, runs in and want one? And for the record, John Candy was actually eating milk bones in that scene. He actually ate them.
Snowwolf says, I haven't heard Okidata in a long time. My company had printers from them. Yeah, when I started at this company that I work for, we fixed Okidata fax machines. And then there were some printers, and they got into laser color printers. but again, we still have some of these people would just have some dot matrix, and once my boss now found out I could fix them, he would send me out. And again, there wasn't much to do on them. Yeah, they do parts now more than anything.
Yeah. And then Barf comes in, sits down, flips on the viewer when he says he's only going to put it on audio, but he puts on the video and he's like, oh, sorry. And you got Vinny and Pizza the Hut, Mel Brooks' first character in this movie.
Oh, that is Mel Brooks.
Yes, Pizza the Hut.
So this is one of the most disgusting characters ever in any form of media.
Yes.
We all love pizza.
Yep.
We love hot pizza. We love cheesy pizza. We love sauce pizza. This is so fucking disgusting. Like,
well, and then his bodyguard is eating him while they're talking.
and Andrew had sat down and he's like, that is so disgusting. Like,
yes.
You're correct. This was the first time that I watched it on the big screen. And I got even more disgusted because you could see the eyes
dripping. Yeah.
The bubbling of.
Yep.
But as he's eating him, I'm just like, oh God, this is worse than any horror movie that I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. And they're like, you owe us some money, and he's like, 100,000 Spacebucks, and he's like, no, more like 1 million. And they're like, what? So obviously a loan shark, and he's increasing his interest rates exponentially for whatever reason, because he wants to keep him as an indentured servant.
Yeah. Have you ever watched the making of this? Like how they did this?
No.
I haven't either. I'm just
I've never seen any making of or behind the scenes for this.
I don't know if my stomach could handle it.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, you got to see all the mechanics behind it. It's pretty gross.
Because something was melting. I mean,
clearly it's dripping off there. It is something that is in a liquid form. If it's cheese or not, I don't know. But it was dripping in the mouth of the creature there.
3-star says we need a classified ask figure of all of these, but especially a Pizza the Hut Vinny 2-pack. Yeah, no, I'm not buying that.
No, sorry. and if they don't get the money within a week, pizza's gonna send out for you.
Yes, the bubbles that keep popping.
Yeah.
It's so fucking disgusting.
So gross.
So then they get the call about rescuing the princess.
Yep, and then they ask for 1 million Spacebucks, and he balks at it, but he's like, "All right, I'll do it for my daughter."
I love the fact he's like anything, and 1 million.
He's like, 1 million.
You're rich. It's your daughter. Why would you even think twice about it, right?
Well, I mean, just because people live in castles and are kings and royalty doesn't mean they actually have money or liquid cash. Just saying.
Yeah. Hold on. Woody has a question for you. It says, hey, Matthew, quick question. I know that they couldn't make merchandise as part of the deal, but is that a lifetime situation?
I have no idea. As far as I know, it was, hey, you get to make this, but you can never make merchandise from it. And so any merchandise that was made from it was always independent, third party, or knockoff stuff. Mel Brooks or any of his affiliates were not allowed to make any merchandise from it, as far as I know. But fans have made stuff throughout the years.
Yeah, and at this day and age, I don't think there's enough money. Obviously, George Lucas doesn't own it anymore.
Well, right, and so Disney would be going after anybody who violated that agreement because, well, I mean, they don't even pay their writers royalties that wrote books for them before Disney bought them. So
that's little things.
Well, and then one of their biggest shareholders, Nelson Peltz, tried to get on the board, and then he just left, and he just sold $1 billion worth of Disney stock. He said, all right, you're not going to allow me on the board? He sold all of his stock and said, I'm out.
Wow.
You guys go burn for all I care.
Yeah, NECA is the company that I could see doing this. If there was a company that was going to do it, NECA is
But NECA is proud of the licenses that they get, and they could not get this license because it is unattainable.
Yeah. So there's one other person you can ask.
Yeah.
So
Ace will make them, right?
yeah, if you want them, start asking Ramen Toys at Joe Fest. Uh, they'll probably
And
up for sale before we leave.
pre-order, pre-order, pre-order. Yeah. All right. We get the Runaway Bride in her full Princess Leia regalia.
So even today, this looks so perfect.
Yep.
Um, the fact that she has had these are headphones. You had no idea when you're watching it the first time.
No.
So she lifts them up, and you're like, "Oh
Like,
my god!"
she's like, what? What?
Absolutely awesome, absolutely brilliant. It's little things like this in a movie that you go, I would have never thought of that. Like that's something I would have never thought at. But
Well,
she
you know, the idea even goes back to Hardware Wars with the actual cinnamon buns on the princess's head.
Yeah, 3 star. Yeah, I'm with you. It's such a good gag because like you don't even see it.
No, you can't see it. And then after she takes it off, when she puts it back on, obviously you see her hair down behind it. But you get the relationship between Dot Matrix and her, and you know Dot's trying to protect her, and she's like, "No, I'm a spoiled brat, so I'm going to do what I want to do."
Oh, so this must be something about ramen. I'll be too busy. I'll be too busy trying to fit stuff into my racer properly.
Did you get one, Darren? Did you get a ramen racer?
It's not a bad vehicle.
Doesn't look like it. I mean, what you were showing seemed pretty cool. Might be a little frustrating at points, but still look cool.
Well, again, off track here. Reviewing anything that big the way that I do it is. I'm sorry. Hold on. Just because I said that, I guess I really need to do it.
That's what she said.
Nah.
That's what she said.
Oh shit! Wait.
It's on loop. It's stuck.
Yes. Oh, I need to figure out how to get that off. That's what. So I did find out that's why I couldn't get rid of the music the first episode because it was on loop and I couldn't figure it out. All right. So I was able to solve why I couldn't get it, why I had to stop that first stream that I ever did. No, the ramen racer, it's good. It's nice detail, and to me, it gives me, if I decided I wanted to get that bridge layer that he's going to be doing, or
Yeah.
the 18 van, I feel better now. That
You
he
know
actually
what?
has
I
product
mean,
in
that
hand.
bread van looks awesome.
Yeah.
I'm real interested in that one, but
But as I know some people disagreed with me, I said once you start getting product, then I will be more than happy to say, hey, you know what? He got product, and now you can feel safer ordering from
yeah.
this company.
Well, exactly. He's delivered a big item, or
Yeah.
is delivering a big item right now, and so now you're like, okay, this guy, he's wanting to produce and deliver, and so now he's got more backing than Odd Frog or anybody else right now because he actually has product.
Yeah. So, and whether he fully understood it or he just wanted to say, yeah, that's fine. You can be a harsh critic. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
He was clearly upset with me in many of those streams.
Yeah.
And I can understand why you would be, because
Well, I mean,
no one else was calling you out. No one else was doing it, at least like on a live stream, especially with friends of yours.
Yeah, and it's a challenging situation because you are, on one hand, you're saying, hey, there's nothing out yet, but you're also questioning his integrity, and so he could take it that way too, and he did.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm going to do this, and it's like, okay, but we have no reason to trust you yet. I'm a trust but verify person.
Brandon, you're absolutely right. This channel is still hard to find, but I put a link in both my Instagrams, and Matthew also shared both of them. So
check our Instagrams.
Yes, don't give me that. Like, we put it out there.
But yes, make sure double check that you are subscribed and are receiving all notifications for this channel.
Yes, please. We're at 97. We're gonna strive for 100.
But yeah, no, this was a great gag. And then we're gonna see Spaceball City. We get to see Mel Brooks' second character, President Scroob.
Like, all it is those styrofoam balls on toothpicks.
Yep. With a Capitol building on top.
I never really noticed that it was the Capitol building until I was watching it again. Like, I knew it was, but I never, it didn't dawn on me. And then I was watching, I'm like, oh, that's the fucking Capitol.
And it's so awesome. You know, they go straight into that, and there he is, opening up a can of Perrier.
Yeah.
You know, sniffing his air, and then we get Commander Zarkon. You know, Spaceball 1's in sight. Princess Vespa's on the way, and then they got to go Snotty to beam him over, and Snotty beamed me twice last night.
For someone who, for a character that seemed like it would have, and I'm being politically correct, would have seemed to be like a lesbian in a character, she was not. She clearly had some dirty thoughts.
Oh yeah, later on with the camera on the wrong wall. This is an unlisted wall. So Snotty beams him over and puts his head on backwards, and apparently his arms too. Basically, he just turned his clothes around except for his butt.
Well, it's funny because you can see his shoes are like protruding out the back of where his heels are supposed to be.
Yep.
It makes me laugh. But I also, for the first time, I realized when he's yogurt that you can see his feet too.
Oh yeah. No, I always knows those things. But then he's like, "Why didn't anybody tell me my ass was so big?"
And again, even being younger, seeing this for the first time, it's like your hands are on backwards too.
Right.
like nobody questioned that.
I mean,
this was so good.
I mean, how are you going to do that any other way, right? I mean, you got to work with what you got. They tried not to show his feet, you know, but the hands thing, yeah, whatever.
So then they beam him back, and it's funny because they're all like, "Oh my god!" Like they're all...
Absolutely agree, Darren. She is way out of Snotty's league.
I don't think it mattered.
I think she was looking for any piece of action she could find.
I think if you had a phallus, she was going to use it.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So they beam him back, and then
he walks next door.
And the best part is this is a spoof of Star Wars, and they don't beam, so
right.
they go into Star Trek.
Yep.
This is something people wouldn't know nowadays. They would not know who these girls are.
No, they wouldn't, and they are the Doublemint twins.
Yes.
Charlene and Marlene.
I'm Marlene. I'm
Charlene. Whatever. Chew your gum.
But yeah, you would not know. Yeah, you would not know this. At all.
Unless you are an aficionado of 1980s TV commercials, because Doublemint gum was all over the place because they thought Wrigley's was the big gum maker at the time.
Yeah. And they pushed the hell out of this.
Yep.
Let's see.
Walks next door. Oh, and then everybody does the salute that looks like the big FU, and then they wave.
And then they wave. Which all it did was give kids a reason to do that to their parents. Like,
hi, Mom.
No, we saw it in Spaceballs.
We saw it in Spaceballs. Hey, listen. If your parents are sending your kids to the Spaceballs movie, there's something else going on there. Although, after I finished watching this for taking my notes, my daughter wanted to watch it the next day.
Andrew, he only watched a little bit. He's like, I still can't get into this. But
to me, this is the funniest Mel Brooks movie. I mean, I love Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, but this one still gets me every time.
Well, again, I'll still stand by. It could be better if the good guys were funny, because I don't think they
Yeah,
were funny at all.
yeah. But
Um,
the one Mel Brooks that I can't stand watching anymore is Men in Tights. I don't know why. That one I just can't stand watching anymore.
I don't believe I've ever seen that.
It had its moments, and if you watched it back in the day when Robin Hood Prince of Thieves was out, and I love Carrie Elwes and I love some of the actors in there. Um, you want it to be funny, and there are some decent lines in it, but it just isn't good. History of the World is awesome too. Yeah, random diorama.
But Andrew looked. He's like, "What is this rated?" He's like, "It's only rated PG."
Yep.
Is that right? It's only rated PG. There's f bombs in it.
I
There's a
thought
good
it was
amount of
PG.
swearing.
I thought it was PG-13. There's also a lot of implied swearing.
Oh yes.
So they skirt it so much that it really is.
Yeah, it's only PG.
That
So
shocks me because when was PG-13? PG-13. That was Gremlins, right? Gremlins and the Sword and the Stone, the Disney movie, was PG-13. They made that one PG-13. Oh, the Black Cauldron. Sorry,
well,
Black Cauldron.
I believe the first PG-13 movie was Red Dawn, wasn't it?
I believe it was Gremlins.
Really?
It goes back and forth between, but it depends. I mean, they were made about the same time, and so when they came out,
Hey, one of you 13 people, can one of you do a little bit of research, find out for us what was the first PG-13? For the love of God, man, I will strike all you YouTubers here. So you,
if you do Google search, it says Red Dawn was there, but Gremlins, I believe, is the reason why Red Dawn was PG-13, because when Gremlins came out, that was PG and it freaked everybody out. And then they were like, "Oh no, you've got to make all these PG-13 now."
well, Red Dawn was only PG-13 for one reason, and that's
Yeah.
because of the dead kid hanging out that window when they shoot it up.
Yeah, so Gremlins came out and was originally PG, but it was because of the movie Gremlins that they rushed forward the PG-13 rating.
Yeah. All right. Google says Red Dawn. Good job. Good job. Good. What? Look at Woody, the last person to have the internet in the world.
Yeah, but if you read the rest of that, it does mention the Gremlins thing too.
Yeah, and I don't even remember why I don't. I just remember hearing that, and I don't even know why. Of all things, that would register because
Right.
Red Dawn was just awesome.
Fire warning shots across her nose. I said across it, not up it. And then we get the cross-eyed gunner and find out what his name is. And he's an asshole. And who appointed this guy? This guy. Who's he? He's Major Asshole. Who else here is an asshole? You. I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
I love the fact that they're all are, and you can clearly see that one guy is a black guy.
Yeah, not all of them are, because if you watch it, there are 2 or 3 there that didn't raise their hand.
Oh, really?
Yes. Keep firing, asshole.
Yeah.
Gunner's mate, first class, Philip, asshole.
So Viper Scout says, now we're on this PG-13 thing. Gremlins is the reason PG-13 was created. Indiana Jones also played a part.
Yeah, I don't know that. See, I don't know if it was Indiana. Well, it would have been Temple of Doom, right? But I don't think. Maybe because the heart ripping scene. I know I had an issue with that as a kid, but it really was Gremlins that kind of sparked all that for sure.
And 3 Star earlier said Gremlins was 84. I think that's when Red Dawn came out too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I believe
Maybe
it.
it
It
was
was.
later on.
It was very close in time frame for sure.
So maybe it came out later on that year, and they were like, "Well, this is gonna be the first one."
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's be honest.
Red Dawn was 84.
You know what? 3 Star. That is a good one that I should look at. I'm surrounded by. I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes, but I'd just be playing it all Monday.
Well, you know, we appreciate it. Thanks.
Or maybe I should send it some other channels. Anyway, so we get him saying I'm surrounded by assholes,
Yeah.
but he knew it. You know, I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep firing, assholes. And then we get King Roland and Lone Star. This is when they talk about the $1,000,000 space bucks. And then we go back to the Mercedes, and they start rescuing them.
This is where I had things out of order
with the moonroof and all that stuff. They got the tractor beam. They're stuck in the tractor beam. And then they see the Spaceballs, and they're like, Barf is getting cowardly, and he's like, I don't know about this. We should just turn around. I mean, it's all, And then he's like, we're doing it for a shit ton of money.
That didn't matter because they were just giving it away.
Well, but it is still $1,000,000 space bucks, right? So,
yeah.
We're doing it for a shit ton of money to pay off the debt. And then they say, okay, fire let's jam the radar, and they throw it in there. And then, it starts leaking down in the screen. And then you get, you get Michael Winslow from Police Academy. So we can tie that back to Police Academy.
And unfortunately, I found a bunch of pictures. I don't know why I didn't have any. But my son saw it, and he was like, he goes, "Is he making those noises with his mouth?" I was like,
"Yep,
yes, he is.
Yes, he is." And then he goes,
yeah.
I mean, he does it all.
Shit.
Shit. He takes the microphone like,
when they take it away from him and he's still talking like that. But that went right back to the bullhorn from Police Academy.
Right. Yeah. It's the same joke.
So now we've done 2 movies with him in it.
Yep. And then, he wipes his dark helmet, wipes his finger across it, and licks it, and says, "Raspberry. There's only one person that would dare give me the raspberry. Lone Star."
Even though we found out they've never met before.
But he knew who Lone Star was, apparently, because he's his father's brother's cousin's nephew's former roommate.
So they find out so this is when he saves her, because they're in the tractor beam, and Barf has to go down and get him.
Not in here, mister.
What?
Not in here, mister.
He brings over all the luggage.
Her Royal Highness's mess luggage.
I'm not a John Candy fan. And I find Barf kind of just disturbing. I don't want to say disgusting. He's disturbing.
Well, it's very disturbing because, I mean, if you think of the connotations of the man dog and the slavery or inherent loyalty, from dogs, and you incorporate that into a sentient being, and there's a whole bunch of things that's very disturbing about it. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a dog, half man, half dog.
I'm my own best friend. No, I said it, and it literally popped up. Viper Scout said it right away. I'm my own best friend, but how he says it is what makes it so good.
I'm my own best friend. And then when they're going up there, And Matrix is like, stop looking up my can. Sorry.
Now I have to say, as a young person watching this, and even through the '90s, I didn't really realize how many Jewish jokes there were.
Yes. And when he's like, a Jewish princess. And he's like, oh crap. And if you know, you know. Like if you lived in that time frame and you knew a affluent Jewish family, somebody was a Jewish princess.
Yeah.
I miss him too. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Splash, Spaceballs, so many Uncle Buck. I liked him in just about everything he was in. I thought he was a very interesting person.
Like I said, I'm not a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of his. I've seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I know I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
That is
I
the
remember
Thanksgiving movie. You have to watch that movie on Thanksgiving.
Well, remind me on Thanksgiving. Random. That may be why we end up. That you on Thursday with a friend may be the last episode I'm ever going to do on my show, on my channel. Yes, I will have random on right before we go to Joe Fest. So I might be on a Joe Fest panel and not have a channel anymore. So this is where we first hear Hyperactive, which is clearly just a ripoff of.
Well, so we get the whole stuck up thing, right?
Oh yeah.
As they're arguing, they're arguing to their partners back and forth about how terrible the other person was going to be, how scummy that this pirate captain was going to be, and how stuck up and snobby, king of the, she's like naming off her father's king of the druids. Oh shit, a Jewish princess. Funny, she doesn't look Jewish because she got the nose job. All right, that's why.
These are stereotypes that we do not condone on the show. So Ed says, actually, you have to watch Planes, Trains, Automobiles Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay, fair enough. You're right, Ed. Absolutely. Yeah, because if you watch it on Thanksgiving, that's already passed, but that's at the end of the movie. Yeah, that's fair.
Well, good thing is I always take that week off, and there's nothing on Tuesday, so I don't have to worry about anyone on YouTube. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, guys.
And then they go back and forth. The spoiled, rotten, he's got to be gross. And then they meet, and then they like freeze and they gaze into each other's eyes. And they take off. And then, yes, we get, well, let's go after them. What does this thing got? And then Lightspeed's for jokers. Ludicrous speed. It's like, prepare the ship for ludicrous speed. You're always preparing for everything. Just go. And so it's like, sir, shouldn't you buckle up? And he's like, buckle this.
But we have the what's the matter, Colonel Sanders?
Chicken?
But he plays it so well. He's like, prepare
ship for hyperactive.
But he does such a good job, like when it takes off, when he's like, we can't stop. We have to slow down.
It's too dangerous. And he's sitting there holding on, going, ah.
So they go right to ludicrous speed. And I love the fact that it's going like across them. It's very Star Trek-esque.
Yeah.
Original Star Trek, like
yep.
Star Wars, I think, did a good job of just having lights rather than words and everything that you could read. And again, that's why I think when you look back at, when they do a new Star Trek series, they make it all modern. But when they're able to do a Star Wars series, it's like, no, we can just kind of go back to what the Falcon looked like and the X-Wing. It was basic lights and a configuration.
Yep. As
think,
as Colonel Sanders is preparing, he's like, "Close all shops in the mall, cancel the 3-ring circus, close down the zoo, get the animals back." He says, "You're a petty excuse for an officer."
Viper Scout brings up a really good point. Naming a character Colonel Sanders for that one joke is amazing. So it's funny because it's like his name is Colonel Sanders, which you laugh about because he's a colonel. So here you have a colonel, in your military. But really, until he just said it, it was all set up for that one joke.
Yep. I mean, because there's
just
no
how
other,
he says it.
there's no other reference to anything Colonel Sanders like from Kentucky Fried Chicken at all, except for his name.
He's not dressed like him or anything.
Right. And just to throw that in there. I mean, this shows you how much thought Mel Brooks puts into his comedies, and I think he does a really good job with them for the most part. And we actually watched the Kung Fu Hank or whatever that animated movie was, which was totally Blazing Saddles, but an animated movie about cats and dogs.
We can talk about that later.
But Mel Brooks made that movie also, and he was in it.
Okay. And hit that like button if you guys haven't yet. That's how YouTube lets people know, and then Random can find it because he doesn't pay attention to our Instagrams with the big links in it.
Yeah, well, Random, we're not there quite yet. We're just at the point where he's like, "I order it." And he's like, "Okay," click. And he goes flying through. Never use.
Never use.
Never use. And he crashes his helmet in and then get it back out. And he's all messed up. He says, "Okay, we're stopped."
But it's little things like this. The emergency stop never, like, he didn't use it too much.
Right.
He used it just enough. He uses it with the self-destruct button.
Yep.
So it's not like every single time you look at something, it was only when it needed to be there.
Yeah. The out of order. Hey, Largo. And then he's like, "Everybody take 5. Smoke if you got them."
I found that picture a bunch of times, but when I was looking for it, then I couldn't. So.
And then we get the
they go to plaid.
They've gone plaid. And then they go back to the ship. And he's like, "They overshot us by a week and a half." And then they run out of gas and crash land.
Which doesn't make sense because they could have just turned around and come back that quickly.
Could they though? Because they would have to. I mean, how far did they shoot past them? Right, they overshot it by a week and a half, so they'd have to turn around and they'd have to hit light speed, and it would take them at light speed. It would take them a week and a half to get back. If they went hyperactive again, if they have the fuel for it, then it might take them less time. But still, you're looking at more time.
They had fuel; they just didn't have air. That was all they needed.
Clearly, because their brains were deprived of oxygen because they weren't thinking much either.
Yeah, he goes flying into it, which is still one of the funniest parts of the movie.
The way that Rick Moranis can pull off that disheveled, beaten up character like he did in Ghostbusters, like he's done here, and he's just like.
And that was one thing that I caught. That part, it is just the Ghostbusters. He's reenacting that scene in Ghostbusters.
It felt like it.
But yes. It worked. It worked.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I'm not complaining, but yeah. I mean, it worked perfect.
Yep.
All right, I'm just going to say we're at 99 subscribers right now. So if you are not subscribed, come on, help us break 100. Come on, guys. We can do it. Although everyone that's here has always been here. So,
well, and then in this argument scene that they're going to have coming up here between Lone Star and the princess, She expresses her pronouns.
Wait a minute. So first, when I watched this scene, this was almost the exact same scene that we saw in one of the airplanes.
Oh yes.
I think
Yeah.
it might have been I think it might have been Airplane 2, like when they're crashing over everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but see that, and I'm like, this, like, I've seen this. This is directly from Airplane.
Yep.
But
yeah, so they're arguing back and forth about what they're taking, and she expresses all of her pronouns. You will not call me you. You call me Your Highness. And you will not call me you idiot. You.
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh yeah, nice.
So Radnan was building the Legos for this.
Yep. Yeah, so there was a Lego set for Winnebago or something at one point that you could modify or make it out of that.
Well, I expect it in the background when you do Thursday with a Friend with me.
Oh yeah, you got to have that there for sure.
Start building it now, Radnan.
Take only what you need to survive.
They're taking so much luggage. But when he pulls out the hair dryer.
Well, and then they start playing they start playing the Lawrence of Arabia music as they're tromping through the desert. They drop the trunk, the industrial strength hair dryer.
Yeah, which I didn't get a picture from.
And it says, and I can't live without it. It says, then you carry it. And they drop it, and then they start carrying the trunk. It's like, see, so much lighter. Yeah, it's great. I could carry this all day. And then we have the.
Did I miss something here?
So we go back, and they're walking through. They're not on the scanner. There's a. By the coffee, they pulled out Spaceballs, the movie.
That's what's out of order.
Yeah, and so they go over and they find Mr. Rental, and they find Spaceballs, the movie, and you'll notice that on that shelf there is the producers, 12 Chances, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, and Silent Movie, which are all Mel Brooks films. That's all they had in their collection, and then they pull Spaceballs, the movie, discussing the veracity of that, and they fast forward to it, and they go to the flying to. In fact, never show that again.
But the dialogue between the two of them. This is now.
Now. When did we pass?
When did this
go back
happen?
to then?
It's already happened.
When?
This is so much better than
Just
Who's on First. All right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's like, when did we pass it? Just now. Can we go back? No.
Largo's wife has made us hit 100 subscribers. Tell your wife thank you very much, and if I can get you guys a good cup of coffee down there where they make coffee, I will.
Oh, I'm sure they make good coffee down there.
No, they don't. Have you never heard him talk about it? He's like, you can't find one good cup of coffee.
Really?
Even though all the coffee, that's where they make all the coffee.
That's what I'm like, where they make all the coffee there. What do you mean you can't get good coffee?
He's talked about it numerous times, how he can't get one good cup of coffee, even though all they do there is.
That is the saddest thing ever, Largo. I am so sorry. I hate coffee. It makes me physically ill to even smell it, but I am sorry.
I love the smell of it, but I can't get into it. Yeah. I can drink some of the cappuccinos, and I like ice caps. Thank you, Woody. Even if we had to cheat with someone's wife. But hey, you know what? I'm not too proud. Largo says they export all the good stuff.
Yeah, well, okay, I get it. I guess so. I do love this conversation that they have though about the instant cassettes that are in stores
It's,
before the movie's even released, and we are so close to actually being there at this point because we had day and date release on streaming services just a couple years ago. The
yeah.
movie was released on streaming, so we had it in our homes at the same time it was in the theater. Again, comedy predicts the future because only the absurd happens.
Largo says, "Wait, you cheated with my wife." I'll do a lot for a subscribe.
Unsub.
All right,
Unsub. He
I
just
would do a lot
unsubbed.
for a subscribe. Okay. The things that I have done, you have no idea. How do you think I have over 4,000 subs on my other channel?
Yeah, I mean, clearly he purchased them. I mean, you can look at his social blade, right? I mean, it shows up just like Viper Island's purchases, right?
I probably only have about 400. I've done about 4,000 bad things. But yeah, I love like this whole thing, you know.
Yep.
Like, but it's so funny because it's like, well, then why would you be filming the movie?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know,
So I actually wrote down the dialogue. Now, what happened to then? We passed it. When? Just now. When will then be now? Soon.
Yeah, random. I will say a little, but he did a video today, and he's right back to acting like an asshole.
Oh yeah, no. His video today that's solidifies the fact that he is oblivious to everything that's going on.
And I would just like to say, in the video, he and his son do accept these. They accept a Serpentor and the Dr. Mindbender and the hat from channel members, and I just find that gross. Just gross.
That's just gross.
Yeah, that you would take anything from one of from some.
He should be making all of his money from YouTube.
Oh yeah,
right? I mean, YouTube pays him so well that he doesn't need to do memberships or super chats or be monetized or whatever. But he'll take anything from his fans that send him stuff because that's different somehow.
But we can talk more about that on other channels.
Yeah. I do like the fourth wall breaking that they do in this movie. It's comedy, so it fits, but there's several scenes of the fourth wall breaking that are just perfect.
And for something like this, it's perfect. For Ferris Bueller's Day Off, it was perfect.
Right.
Obviously Deadpool is a whole nother story. It works. It doesn't work with every movie. But
right. Yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, this one here, because it's not everybody breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm absolutely I'm in need of a new YouTube rep.
Hey man, you know what? If you get anything other than a bot, if you get an actual human being that you can actually talk to at YouTube, sometimes you get stuff done. I'm just saying, if you can actually talk to a human, they can guide you through some of the stuff that's going on. But most of the time, it's just bots and email responses, and it sucks.
Ed says, I walk away for 5 minutes and come to Punk cheating on Largo's wife. Hey.
So wait. Cheating on Largo's wife? No, he was cheating on Largo with his wife. Oh. So let's be clear about this.
I've seen Largo's numbers going up. He's not too proud either. He's done some dirty things for a sub or two.
Does he spin around in chairs on Saturday nights?
Hey, I don't think he gets super chats yet, but hey, once all you fuckers can get super chats, we'll see what you guys do for $1. And hey, I didn't even go on this Saturday, so
that's true.
So I made so much money the rest of the month.
Well, but no, Friday was long. Friday was a long one.
And I had done Thursday, and then I had to do.
Yep, Thursday, Friday. But so now we get to the campfire scene. Yep, and everybody's kind of going to sleep or crashing out around a fire, and the virgin alarm is getting ready there. Vespa and Lone Star sitting down, talking about the stars and which one's yours, the bright blue one, close, intimate moment. He gives her the jacket. Then he shivers because he's not cold because he's too much of a man to be cold.
Jay Astro, I said I'm not going to talk. I find it absolutely bizarre and unlikely that anyone would send a complete internet stranger a free Serpentor and Dr. Mindbender. I also find it surprising that someone would send somebody a free Hiss Tank or a Vamp. So I'm kind of with you.
Okay, so I will say this: the internet is a weird place, and people get sucked into a cult mentality, or are truly that generous, and they're like, "Oh, I know they can't afford this, so I'm gonna send it to them, and then I'll get praise for it." And so people do it for that reason. People do it because they're super generous. People do it for a lot of different reasons. If you look at some unboxings on other people's channels, people send some amazing things to YouTube channel people for whatever reason that they do it. That's on them. But it is a little suspicious when his entire G.I. Joe collection is basically gifted to him.
Yeah, and I've got some really nice stuff from a lot of people. So, I can't be one to say it never happens.
Right.
But, we see it. But I just can't believe there's anyone actually in his community that's real. Right? But that's just...
But there has to be. There are people that are just sticking their head in the sands. They're not paying attention. You look at everything that happens in the world and you realize that there are a lot of people that just hyper focus on one thing and that's it. They stick their head in the sands for everything else.
And I can say this. I know that like within our community, we see the people and we've got to know the people. So to me, it feels so different when, the toy enhancer sends me, God bless him, a vintage Rattler because he noticed I didn't have one.
Nice.
Which, again, I will never close those back wheels.
Right,
they will stay open even when I fly it. But we've seen the stuff that gets shipped back and forth between people. And I think it's awesome, but I think we have more of a family type actual friendship dynamic. I can't speak for other YouTubers, but it is kind of weird until you realize how this is. And
and like I said, I think people develop that or feel that they have that relationship with people, even if they don't necessarily actually do, because people personify you in a lot of different ways. Anytime you're on screen interacting with people project a lot of their stuff onto you and create a connection, whether it's real or not.
Yep.
There's a lot of things. And then there's also a lot of, untreated mental illness out there. So anyway, we get the discussion about where he's from. And, he was found in the Ford Galaxy with this medallion, raised by monks who took a vow of silence, so they couldn't tell him anything.
Oh, the Ford Galaxy. That didn't even dawn on me.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Come on.
Nope, not till just now when you said it.
And then ran away, not alone. Only Prince. She, basically, she confesses that, she can only be married to a prince, so he's the last one. And then you get Galaxy. Melodramatic.
Who are their kids going to marry then? Why? I guess there can be other. Well, I guess there can be other ones that are married. So I guess.
Right. So there would be other couples that are already married out there, I guess, and he was the last one who wasn't married yet. You know what? I'm not saying you were. I'm not saying anybody is. I'm just saying it's a large event that's happening in our population, that there's a lot of untreated mental illness. And then we get this large melodramatic exposition on love and the princess and all kinds of stuff, and then blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden they get ready, they get so intimate, they get ready to kiss, and bam, the virgin alarm goes off, and everybody's like, "What the hell was that?" It's programmed to go off before you do, bub.
For some odd reason, you grew up thinking Joan Rivers is like this prude.
Right.
She so was not.
No, she was not. She was funny as hell. Same with Liz Taylor. Liz Taylor was really funny also.
But you think of them as prudes because of how they were in that upper known celebrity status.
Yep.
But they were anything but that.
Well, and that was back in the days when we didn't have social media, and everybody was protected in their own little world, and they could function however they functioned, and you didn't get to see them very often, and that made everything better because those were actual movie stars. and I love Barf. He wakes up to the Virgin alarm. Abandon ship, women and mogs first.
Oh yeah, you're right. There will always be Prince Valium now when they have kids. So if they have a daughter, they'll have to marry Prince Valium.
But there could be other royalty out there that have kids also. So there may be more than one option. Hopefully, because who knows. And then we get the walking through the desert. The water, and then Barf's his tongue's hanging out real low, saying water. You get Dot Matrix saying oil, and you get the princess. What is she saying?
She says room service.
Room service. And then Barf finally gives up and says, "Waiter, check please." Falls down, and then everybody starts collapsing. And then we get the dinks, and we get 6 of them.
I could not, when I'm watching this, I could not for the life of me think of the name Jawa. I'm like, what is the name of those Star Wars creatures? I'm like, it took me I'm like, oh my God.
That's frustrating.
I'm like, it's Jawa. Like,
but they got almost all of the famous dwarf actors of the time, because you can recognize some of their faces if you're familiar with Ice Pirates and all that kind of stuff. But they're singing a version of a Disney song, Dink Dink, and all they can say is Dink. And there's 6 of them, not 7, so they're not dwarves. They're not dwarves. They're dinks. And then they just magically happen to have water and oil for everyone. Yes, good. It's dink, stuck.
Dink 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 dink
dink
dink
dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink dink. And they magically have oil for the droid and water for everybody else. And then what does Lone Star say? Where did we get to? Disneyland? So they're already inviting Disney to buy Star Wars and incorporating Jawas into Disneyland.
Damn it.
And then we get the Dark Helmet in his safari gear and helmet with a mirror underneath the car. It's clear you can see that mirror. If you look for it, I always could. You can see that mirror underneath there to reflect the sand. And then they're underway and they fly off. Then the guys get taken underground with the Y doors, the Temple Beth Israel. They do the whole Wizard of Oz walking down. There's a lot of Wizard of Oz theme going on here, with the cowardly dog, the heartless Tin Woman, Dorothy the princess, and the brainless scarecrow Lone Star. As they go down and they finally meet Yogurt. The ever loving know-it-all. The yogurt the great, yogurt the wise. No, I'm just plain yogurt.
So when he comes out, you can see his feet at the back.
Almost every scene that he's in, you can see his feet coming out the back of the robe.
And this gold reminds me of the gold spray paint that I did in Cub Scouts to paint the wreath. That for some odd reason I thought it'd be good to spray over my canopy of my the canopy of my tomahawk, which that gold, even though it kind of matched the color and it wasn't over the whole thing, was there till a few years ago when someone was selling a lot GI Joe for $100, and it had the canopy and it also had the sticks for it, so I was able to complete it. That was
Nice.
$100 right there. But that's all I can think of is painting that macaroni and that gold, and me going like this, and went. And it was.
Oh man!
I was absolutely just, and I did everything to try and get it off, and guess what? Spray paint doesn't come off.
Well, there's ways to get it. Anyway, just plain yogurt, and then they go talking about the Force. No, the Schwartz. So now we talk about the Schwartz.
Again, very Jewish, very Jewish heavy words here.
So many Jewish jokes, and Mel Brooks was king at making fun of himself along with everybody else, and that's why people love Mel Brooks movies so much. And then that's when he goes into, where the real money is made, merchandising.
The flamethrower.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower. The kids love this one.
Look at that smile on his face.
Spaceballs, the doll. May the Schwartz be with you.
All the little people look really creepy. I just noticed how creepy they all look. They all look really creepy here.
Well, I mean, you look there and you get the Spaceballs, the cereal. You get all kinds of Spaceballs merchandise there, and that's how they make their money, is they get into merchandising. And this is the big joke for George Lucas, because honestly, that's how he made all of his money, was in merchandising. He kept all of those rights from Star Wars, and that's how he became so rich with all the profits from everything, is because he made a deal with the companies back in the day that he would take a lesser percentage of the box office if he could keep the merchandising rights all to himself. And they're like, okay, who's going to merchandise this? Whatever. Okay, you can have it. And then they realized, oh, shit, he can do something with that. And the studios won't give up merchandising rights now. They'll always have a piece of them.
And honestly, that was a happy accident for George Lucas.
Totally was. Absolutely. I mean, but he was smart enough to know a different avenue for revenue in case the movie didn't do as well as hoped.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, but smart idea. Happy accident that he got that much.
Yep. Yeah. And so Jaws is actually the first blockbuster movie, but Star Wars actually put it on the record as being a blockbuster thing. That became a household name with Star Wars.
All right.
And then we get back to President Scrooge, and he's in bed with the twins.
Oh, I don't have that picture.
And he's going through there, and he's in bed with the twins, and he gets the phone call, flips it up, the girls hide. He pops up with his Richard Nixon book. If you looked at that real closely, he was reading a book on Richard Nixon. And then we get to combing the desert. Comb the desert. Okay. Do you think we're taking this too literally?
There is no one in the world that knew that this was coming. Because you see this, They pan to the next one, saying people have this ace comb. And you're laughing because you're like, oh, they comb in the desert. They have a comb.
Yep.
And then when you get to this one,
The hair pick
again,
one. The hair
the-
pick one. Not even the regular comb. That's a hair pick.
and the stereotype of obviously the people that are using it. And then you get the
We ain't found shit.
one line. It is probably the most famous line in this whole movie. And there's some pretty good lines throughout this, I would say. There's some famous
Yes.
ones.
Yeah.
I'd say that has to be the most famous one. I bet a lot of people don't even know where it's from.
Yeah.
Travis knows. I don't. This is not Tuvok, is it?
It looks like him. I don't know that it actually is, but it does kind of look like Tim Russ.
Research department. That's you. 3-star draw.
Yeah. Yeah. Largo, we actually talked about that at the very beginning of the show, and saying that's the only way he got to do it was he couldn't merchandise anything. But there was a novelization made of Spaceballs, the movie, the novel that Darren has a copy of. I hope he still has it, but he got it at a book fair. And I didn't even know that there was a novelization of the movie.
All right, I'm gonna let you talk for a couple minutes. I have to go use the
All right,
little boys' room, but I don't need to play the commercial because
I'm here.
you're here.
Yeah. So as far as that actor being Tuvok, I'm not entirely sure about that, but that would be funny if that were true. This movie has a lot of great stuff in it. It looks like a young Don Cheadle. He kind of does, doesn't it? So could be a lot of different things, but this movie definitely clearly has a lot of stereotypes in it, and it's making fun of them, and it's having a good time with it. And that's what Mel Brooks always did really well, is he made fun of himself. He made fun of other people. He took stereotypes and made fun of them. And once you make fun of something, you take the power away from it. And that's why comedy is so important, and why comedy needs to be explored all the time, because comedy is offensive by nature, but it's meant to reflect. It's meant to make you look in a mirror and self-reflect and say, well, is that how I am actually? Or is that how that group actually is? But you can laugh at it because you're like, oh, that's funny because, we see that all the time or whatever. And that's what I think current society is missing a lot of, is self-referential comedy. And comedy is at the heart of an issue that people are having right now, because if you can't laugh at yourself, if you can't laugh at other people, then what the hell's the point? And so humor heals so many things. And if you can turn around and laugh, you're better off for it. It shows a level of mental fortitude that a lot of people don't have. What's that? Just
noticed a shirt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a Empire Strikes Back shirt.
Yeah, he had to wear it because he didn't do his video. So
Shame me, whatever. I don't have the equipment to do a proper video. I thought I could do it, but
I'm going to send you a dunce cap, and you're going to have to wear it.
You can send it all you want.
Anyway.
It
does look like Don Cheadle. I gotta say that.
It did, right? Yeah.
The nose. He has a very distinct. It's not him, because he'd be a child at that time, or a young. I mean, he'd be our age.
Oh, so just so you know, the actor who played that trooper who said "we ain't found shit" is indeed Tuvok.
Okay,
it is Tim Russ.
Lone Dragon, you are correct. I had no idea. I never even associated it. I saw you say it like 3 times, and I was like, I don't think it is.
Indeed.
But it wouldn't be the first time someone in YouTube was very adamant something was something, and then they were completely wrong. You were right. All right.
Yeah, that's kind of my point with comedy is that we can't laugh at things anymore. Apparently, it's socially unacceptable. So
People can't go to comedy clubs and laugh without being called, like, comedians being called for racist, and it's like, have you been to a comedy show before?
yeah, right, exactly. I mean, come on, man. If you're going to go see a Chappelle show, you're going to get it from both sides. He makes fun of everybody. You're going to go through a real good comedian, and they're going to do that. That's what they do.
So what about Chappelle?
Dave Chappelle.
You get it from what?
He makes jokes about everybody. I'm not going to say it again.
I gotta bump up that sound.
Yeah, that wasn't loud enough.
I know. I don't know why it's not, but
oh yeah, Lone Dragon was right. You better mark it right now because it doesn't happen very often, does it? Oh, sorry.
Very seldom. Lone Dragon's very upset about Mutt having right hands and can't use things properly.
All right, and so yeah, we talked about the under the sheets scene, the Nixon book. We found shit. Now we're back to the necklace, and he's trying to get it read by Yogurt. And he says, "I've taken it to every wise man in the galaxy. Wise men, wise guys, more like it." And then he's clearing his throat. He says, "Oh, you can read it." And he says, "No, I'm just clearing my throat."
Okay.
Okay, and then we go to Schwartz training when he picks up the statue and drops it on Barf's foot, and his foot's all cartoon style flat.
I didn't think about that. I wish I had that one.
Woo-hoo! And they find the doors, and they come up with their plan. He says, "I hate yogurt, even with strawberries."
So I had another picture, and somehow I must not have put it in there because I wanted to talk about this helmet.
The safari helmet, the one when he's in the vehicle, the safari vehicle beforehand, I thought that was perfect.
Yeah,
I
I had that, and I obviously didn't put it in this, so I must have skipped it or whatever. I don't know. I had it in there because I think the safari helmet's better than the regular helmet.
You know why? Because it actually looks like an old style samurai Japanese rice paddy helmet or hat that they would wear. I'm just fucking with you. It's true, but it does look like that.
Yeah. But it's just something like super cool because Darth Vader never had anything else. He's just always been in the black outfit. But here they took it to a different level where it's like he has different helmets. So the fact that we never got to see like a snow helmet,
I feel gypped. I know you're right. I feel gypped that we didn't get to see the snow helmet.
There's so many different types of a jungle helmet. All right. There's so many helmets we could have had.
And then we get into another Schwartz conversation. It says, "No, he got the upside. I got the downside. There's two sides to every Schwartz."
Which doesn't work out because later on when we find out where the Schwartz came from.
Well, no. That's where the ring came from. That's not the Schwartz. The Schwartz is not the ring.
All right, I stand corrected.
And then they come up with their plan to lure the princess out. They decide we can't go in because his Schwartz is too strong. And that's when they get the upside and the downside. And then you get the trap,
which is so ridiculous.
Yes.
But again, he plays it perfectly. He plays it absolutely perfectly as he catches it. And unfortunately, I don't have that here.
Yeah, and so he's like, "Daddy, can that be you?" He says, "I guarantee it. would I lie? And then all of a sudden he switches and she faints into his arms. And then they take her off.
And then we get this. And this actually comes pretty quickly. Where,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah, Spaceball. Oh, we get the whole speech right before this.
before they left.
Yeah, as they're leaving, he says, "Will we ever meet again?" He says, "Who knows? We might all be called back together for Spaceballs 2, the search for more money." And he gives him the ring, and he says, "I can't take it." And he says, "No, go ahead, take it. It's okay." And then he gives him the fortune cookie, and then yes, we get the next scene with him playing with his dolls. Oh, your helmet. Oh.
Which I think all of us, not realizing we would be toy collectors 30 years later, found something here that was interesting. Oh, hey, look.
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, there's your video.
There's my video.
Pop Blender must have. I guess he did the same stuff. Had his figures. But this here is what really made people want figures. I think too, like these actual figures. Now, when you look at them now,
you can see that Princess Vespa is clearly a wedding cake topper.
Oh yeah, they have the same articulation as a reaction figure. I mean, almost. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But he's sitting there, he's playing with them, and then they come in. And
well, no, I love the line here. he's like, Jewish princess is attracted to money and power, and I have both.
Again, another Jewish stereotype that I do not believe in. For the record.
And then did you ever date a Jewish princess?
I did not.
I did once. It was an interesting experience. And then Colonel Sanders comes in and he covers him up and he says, "How many times have I told you to knock?" He says, "Did you see anything?" "No, I didn't see you playing with your doll, sir." Good.
This is so awesome. Briscoe says, "Pretty sure those have more articulation than a reaction figure does." I was trying to be nice.
And then we get to see Spaceballs, the toilet paper, and then President Scrooge gets a call on an unlisted wall. And then they have their conversation and says, "I told you not to call me on this. This is an unlisted wall. How do you have this number?" And then at the very end, she salutes and he automatically salutes and then covers up right away. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I saw a piece of that. I saw that."
I can't help it that they're sailors. So then we have the. All right, I'll let you lead here.
No, I mean, yeah, we get to the air shield, and then the interrogation, right? Yeah, call up the dad and get the princess on there, and then it says, "I don't understand. She's already had a nose job." It says, "No, I'm going to give her old nose back," and she's like, "No." And then they're like, "No, Daddy, don't give it to her," to him. And then she passes out, and then King Roland submits and decides to give the combination 1 1 1 2 2 3 4 5 That's the kind of combination an Indian would put on his luggage.
And then he shows up here and he asks what the combination is.
And they tell it to him. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the combination on my luggage. And they look at each other.
It's honestly, I think that it's done so good. And his little mustache.
Yeah, and back to the other scene, just real quick. They had the plastic surgeon with his nurse,
Yes.
and he's all interested in his nurse. And Dark Helmet's like, I bet she gives great helmet.
So that makes me wonder if that was an actual Beverly Hills. Because I've never seen that guy that I can think of. But he makes reference that it's the best plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills, which makes me wonder if that was an actual plastic surgery surgeon.
Yeah. I don't know.
But he's got this tall blonde nurse.
Yeah, and she's very well endowed.
Yes. And he's like, I'm still charging you.
Like, yeah, whatever.
There it is. Dr. Schlotchkin. Again, back.
Nah, the guy's a German stage actor.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because you didn't really need an actor. You know what I mean? You could have easily pulled an actual Beverly Hills surgeon, which would have made people in Beverly Hills laugh.
Yeah, you would have got a couple more.
Oh my god!
Yeah. And then Sanders and Helmet get stuck in the door together as they're leaving, because everybody's trying to leave at the same time.
That's right. I don't have that one. All right. So they go to land on Spaceball. I love the fact that both these actors, that they picked two actors that have the same body.
Yep.
So it didn't seem stupid.
No.
Other than the tail thing.
Right.
But I like the fact that it was like, all right, we're going to give them, rather than both be skinny, although that would have been kind of funny too. But yeah, I think that was actually pretty good. Yeah, he pokes fun at everyone. Like,
yep. Oh, he sure does. If you give me just a minute this time, I'm going to pause for just a second for me.
Okay. But yeah, I love the whole outfits. And again, as we see what they do, and this is just a total ripoff of the Millennium Falcon, right? We all know that. The thing that got me with this was the giant key. When they get the giant key, I couldn't stop laughing because it's used a couple times and it doesn't really connect into anything. He just touches whatever it is. So, what do you mean I finally noticed you? I mentioned you before. Or are you talking about today? I was going to the bathroom. That's why I missed you. Okay, look here. Okay, so quickly here we go. Loki Wartooth, hi. I wish I had those figures. Loki Wartooth says, I'd love to have those props though. So you guys gonna ignore me because I'm late? I see. Hi there, DS77. Let's see here, Wartooth again here. Mel Brooks was good at poking fun at everyone. Oh look, Punk finally noticed me. The maid was so cool. I was late. Look, I had time. And I don't even demand a super chat because can't get super chats here.
That'd be gross.
Anyway.
All right, and then so they knock them out. They take their uniforms, and they start sneaking in.
Yes. But the
I
key, I was mentioning the key. Like, I love the key. The
yeah.
giant key is so
Oh yeah.
stupid because
So
he just like touches.
right. So there's a line in here that is another throwaway line. But if you know, you know. As soon as they enter into the facility, there's a line that says Warden Miller is needed on B-17. Now, if you know anything about history, you would know that Edward J. Miller is the warden of Alcatraz, and he was born in Leavenworth, Kansas, where a military prison is, and he became the person who is most known for running the Alcatraz prison.
I did not know that.
I heard that Warden Miller, and I bust out laughing every time because I knew who Warden Miller was.
I feel special now. Now I won't have to give you the business at Joe Fest. I'm going to highlight every comment on Monday going forward. All right.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I will totally forget by the time the show is over.
Right. Yeah, and then they make it to the Royal Prisoners ring, and you hear the deep bass of "Nobody knows."
even
the
as a
trouble
kid,
I've seen.
even as a kid, I thought that was funny.
Nobody knows but Jesus. A Jewish princess singing about Jesus. Anyway,
You know that I never put two and two together. Is she wearing more of a nightgown than a dress here?
I mean, clearly the wedding dress has been through the ringer, and she's down to her nightgown. Yes. Oh, it happened on the desert planet, right? They had to take off all their clothes to walk through the desert and get burned.
There's a virgin alarm, so we're good.
Yeah, that's right. Dot Matrix is there to protect. And then we get this giant laser battle.
I like these guns. I think these guns are actually pretty cool.
They are pretty cool.
They're
They
better
look a
than
little bit like
something.
Super Soakers, but they're cool.
Yeah, they do. They kind of look like a mix of the Super Soaker and Laser Tag.
Yeah, yep. It's awesome.
So there's the battle, and Barf runs out of ammo somehow.
So he goes over and just rips these pipes off the wall, which means that Moggs must have some incredible, like John Matrix strength here, lifting up tree trunks.
Hey, let's not get crazy. All right. Until they rip a pole, an exhaust pipe pole. But yeah, he rips it off, and they all shoot directly into it, and then go right back.
They shoot directly into the pipes.
Which, how do you even come up with that idea? Like, I'm not even joking. Like, we're like, all right, what do you do? And it's like, oh, you know what? We'll have something on the wall, and the pipes are a complete U, and the beam laser bolts would just go in it and shoot right back out. Which is what they do. Which forces them to run again.
Yep, and they're getting overrun, they're getting chased down, and they have to jump through a closing door.
And they get captured.
And they're captured. And the person who captured them is so happy with himself about capturing the team. You idiots! You captured their stunt doubles!
Which, the fact that they even made Dot Matrix look different.
Yes. Which I believe the guy doing Lone Star is also the Vulcan neck pinch guy, but we'll get to that in a minute.
He looks like a real actor.
He's a real stuntman, and
Okay.
he looks like actors, and so he's doubled for Roger Moore and some other people.
Okay, Because I kept looking, I'm like, he looks very familiar. Um, Vespa looks awesome.
Oh yeah,
Smoking
with the cigar and all.
with a Hitler mustache.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the first time I saw it too, and I'm like, did nobody else notice the mustache? I mean, he's an artist.
It's still stormtroopers because stormtroopers would not have made it into the pipes.
They would have missed him completely.
Yes, Barf would have had to been like moving it around to try. Yeah, the cigar is awesome. He got a big mustache.
I got to worry about you a little bit there. I mean, just saying.
We don't judge.
I mean, but Chaplin was before all that, and Hitler took inspiration from a lot of people. Woodrow Wilson and Charlie Chaplin, he took the most inspiration from. Just saying.
Well, again, it goes to a lot of things. It goes to a lot of flags that are now taken for something else.
Oh yeah, that's
Even
true.
the swastika was something else before Hitler. The fact is, you can never wear this mustache again.
Nope, it is done.
You can one person now to say one person ruined this mustache style is wrong. There was never anything good about this mustache style to begin with. But one person made it impossible for anyone that isn't part of a hate group to ever wear again. Right? And even if you are part of a hate group, but you're trying to hide it so you don't get harassed like in Target, you still can't wear this because, well, it stands out.
Yeah, people would notice.
I guess you could get a fake mustache that you could put like around the sides of it when you go out. Then when you get home, you just peel it off. just the middle piece.
Yeah. Nope.
Same Times Toys has joined us. This
Yay.
is one of the best Mel Brooks movies ever, and all his movies are amazing. And I will reiterate, Spaceballs are funny. The good guys are
dumb.
Yes.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
So anyway, we get the stunt doubles, which clearly gives them all time to get away because they don't even address like how they got away.
Right? Yeah. No. It doesn't matter. Move on.
Plot points.
Next scene. Next scene.
As I keep telling Olivia as you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And so then we see our people at the end, and the lock gets fused and the keys are inside, and they're trapped outside, and they have to hand the rifle over to the princess, and she's like, I can't use this.
She's holding it like this.
I can't use this. And then they singe her hair, and she's like, pop, 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 pop. And I always thought this scene was shot so poorly. I mean, it's so ridiculous because they're just standing there waiting for her to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They singed her hair.
And then she says, was that all right?
And they say, yeah, this is okay. And Dot's like, that was pretty good for Rambo.
No, that's not what they say. Barb says, for a girl.
For a girl.
That's when she says, for Rambo.
Yeah,
which would be the first Sylvester Stallone reference in the movie.
Yep.
Because there is another one.
And then we get them taken off, and then all of a sudden they're at the planet, and Spaceball 1 starts its transformation. As Spaceball 1 transforms to Mega Maid, we get that helmet scene there.
Where he says, how many times have I told you not to have that helmet? I don't know if you're making a face. And he flips it up
and he's making faces. And then the president looks and he's like, oh.
this is actually a GIF, but once I load it up to StreamYard, it doesn't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And he's like,
So
again,
perfect.
he was. You could not have cast a better character. And again, it all goes back to his size.
Yeah.
There's nothing imposing about Rick Moranis. Nothing
Yeah.
imposing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't try and make himself imposing, other than he has a giant helmet.
Well, I mean, that's overcompensation, right?
I don't know.
Well, but then we get the metamorphosis of Spaceball 1 to Mega Maid. And that bag doesn't look nearly big enough to hold all the oxygen from that planet, but yeah, whatever. And the trees and the sand and the snow and everything else it sucks up.
There is, when they reverse it,
Yeah.
and everything goes back perfect. I just remember laughing that it was so stupid.
Yep.
And I don't remember if I remember. I don't remember if I was thinking like that is so stupid that it's awesome because it works. I just remember thinking that was stupid.
I remember thinking that was so stupid, but still laughing at it.
Oh, I laughed at it because it looks so bad.
It's so bad.
There's the trees that go.
Yep. All in a line too. That's perfect. And I love it. It's Operation Vacuum Suck. Suck.
There's another one of those innuendos.
I mean, come on, man. This movie's full of them.
Yes. And as they're watching it happen, that's when they use the ring to reverse it.
She's gone from suck to blow.
I love that there's a trigger on it. Are there vacuum cleaners that have blow on it? Because I can't think of a time that I was ever like, you know what I really want to do? Dirty my carpet.
And to think that something so technologically advanced and large would have an exterior switch that was made for the robot to flip the switch, not whatever. Okay.
Yeah, this is a Titan class crossover transformer.
Yeah, definitely Titan class.
But I will say, I remember watching this, and what I thought about was Robotech.
Yeah, it does look more like the Macross. Yeah.
Because when the giant ship would transform,
yep,
that's what I thought of.
Yep.
But there is a reason, and you don't realize it till the end, why the head looks the way that it does. It looks just like a maid here.
Right.
But there's a reason for it.
Right. It's Mega Maid. And then you see the Winnebago going in through the ear. And they go through this elaborate maze of driving through the inner ear, and they're scanning, and then they finally find what they're looking for. And then Lone Star goes out, and Barf says, I wouldn't, because he's a coward. And then he goes up and he goes for the Vulcan neck pinch. Says, what the hell are you doing? The Vulcan neck pinch. Yeah, you got it all wrong. You got to go down lower. It's right there. And he's like, here? He goes, yeah, that's it. As he goes out. And that guy's a famous stuntman also.
Yeah, so again, another...
He was the stunt coordinator for the movie, in fact.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So another Star Trek reference in a Star Wars parody, which really works perfect.
It's so awesome.
Because it's even better because they don't even they call it the Vulcan neck pinch.
Yep.
They don't call it something else or anything like that. So he helps him out.
Do not push unless you really, really mean it.
And it's underlined. And it's underlined.
And then you get to see Spaceballs the towel, Spaceballs, the shaving cream, and then we get the use of the Schwartz again as you spray the guy in the face with the shaving cream.
Yeah. But it didn't make any sense because they just turned it from suck to blow. Why couldn't he just use the Schwartz to push the button?
Well, that was on a big switch on a spaceship on a robot outside. This is a very personal matter, and
Okay.
you have to get physical with the things in your world at some point.
Very true. I will.
And then right there, he's getting ready to go. He's getting ready to smash it. And he doesn't smash it because somebody says not so fast. He was right there. He could have just finished it. But no, he says not so fast. He's like, what?
So this is where they finally meet for the first
At last,
time.
we meet for the first time, for the last time.
And then we
There's
get
something you should know. I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate, i.e., they're cousins. Just if you follow it, he says, "What does that make us? Absolutely nothing."
Wait. I'm your father's
Brothers, nephews, cousins, former roommate.
Why does it make them the cousins?
Well, it doesn't necessarily, but it ends with basically when he says, goes through the whole litany of things. Basically, he's his cousin's former roommate.
Yeah. Which, again, I think every one of us have used this line and probably slaughtered it.
Yes.
Every now and then we probably got one right or wrong. We probably slaughtered it numerous times.
Oh, yeah. We
But
mind
we've all
slaughtered
used
it.
it numerous times.
Yep, we mind slaughtered it. And then we get into the dick measuring contest here.
Then they have their Schwartz battle.
Yep. They bash their phallic symbols together, and then until Dark Helmet, slices the cameraman in half and says, "He did it." Punches him in the face.
I believe that is your Wilhelm scream in this too.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Got to get the Wilhelm in there. Their Schwartz gets tangled and they have to push off each other.
Push on my knee.
Push on my knee and we'll twist and we'll pull and punches him in the face, and then there's like, oh, why don't we just shake hands? And he reaches out and he's like, oh, okay. He's like, oh, I can't believe you fell for it. You fell for the oldest trick in the book. Here, let me give it back to you. Oh, whoops. And he throws the ring. And he says,
come on, man.
Come on, man. So stupid. He says, evil will always triumph because good is dumb.
But this part always made me laugh because as a short guy, I'm like, you give me a sword, I'm still gonna hit you. All right. Andre the Giant's arms weren't long enough for me not to hit him with a sword. All right.
Right.
But we ignore the rules. All right.
Don't need the rules. And then after he tosses the ring, he starts doing his ball blaster.
Yep.
And then you see Lone Star do some backflips off the walls. And then Yogurt talks to him and says, I found it in a Cracker Jack box. The Schwartz is within you. And that's when he pulls over the shaving mirror and deflects the blast and knocks Dark Helmet all the way back into the self-destruct.
And that's when they have to run for their lives.
And we hear the Paris sirens, the foghorns from Paris.
That's going too far. I don't have any pictures, but I'll let you go on because I'm sure you have a whole bunch of notes because
I got a couple more. You get back to the bridge and and they're talking about the self-destruct, and they can't do anything about the self-destruct, and it says it's not reversible, like my raincoat. I don't know if any of you had those back in the day, but they had the blue and yellow raincoats that were reversible, so you could take the raincoat off and you could flip it around and make it a jacket or a raincoat, so you could have the two different colors, and they were the same jacket on the inside or outside. And he's making a reference to that. It's totally an 80s thing. It never happened again. And then you get the countdown, the 2 minutes, and they're evacuating, everybody on board the ship. You get the Spaceball song. We are the Spaceballs.
That's right. There's a Spaceballs song.
And then, as they're singing, come on, everybody's trying to get to the escape pods as the prongs come out of the maid's head, and they're kind of spikes that are sticking out everywhere, like the Statue of Liberty. And you get the pizza delivery guy. He's like, yeah, bye-bye, got this one. You got the drummer who's, playing the song and hitting the guy on the head as he's going through. You get the bearded lady who calls them all freaks as she gets in there and busts out. Then you get the bear, and you get the president who's coming up there, and he gets in the thing and he tries to buckle the seatbelts, but it's the bear's paws until the bear's like, I'm a bear. And he's like, fuck, it's a bear. And so everybody's escaping, but the command staff, apparently. And he says, let's find the cancellation button. And they go looking for the cancellation button, and they go and they find it, and it says it's out of order. And they're like, fuck, is everything out of order in the future?
That was the one. That was one F-bomb they got.
Yes. And then it counts down. You have something else?
No.
Okay.
Oh no.
They do the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 6. Just kidding. 5.
I had this picture of them all together, and I must not have loaded that one also.
And then it goes down, and it gets to 1, and then it says, have a nice day. Thank you. Boom. And the whole thing blows up. And then you get a news report with Lone Star and Barf in the Winnebago. They drop the princess off, and they're watching the news on the way back, and you hear the story about, and that's a story of man bites dog or droid. Sorry. And then they go, in other news, Pizza the Hut killed himself because he got locked in his limousine and he ate himself to death.
Yep.
Totally disgusting. And then the final story was about Rocky 5,000.
And there's your second sly
reference there, yeah. And then it's like, they don't have a need for the million anymore, so they drop off the princess to in Prince Valium's hands, and they take off and they go to the diner.
All right. So I never noticed this. I feel like I knew about this, but I didn't realize it until I was looking it up. So you guys do know what ship is on this port, right?
You better.
There is the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
Which does put this in the universe of Star Wars, as someone said.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we never saw any flying Winnebagos. But yes, the Falcon is in this. It looks a little different. It might not be the Falcon because the Falcon was just a Corellian fighter.
Yeah, it's a YT-1300.
Yeah. Still an awesome ship.
Absolutely.
That I think was still a little too small for them to be running around in, chasing stormtroopers. But they did it anyway.
Yeah, whatever. It was a cargo ship. It was a small cargo. And then you get Spaceballs, the placemat. And then they sit down to order their food. And Lone Star orders the soup, and Barf orders the special. and they're talking about Luna fish, and then you've got the waitress coming by to take somebody's order and gets a tail up the rear end and says it's got a mind of its own, and he's like, "Oh."
That does not fly in today's age.
It does not. And you know what? I don't even think that most people would get the reference because in the 80s, an ugly girl was called a dog, right?
Yeah.
You know, that was a common thing that was said back in the 80s, I guess. And you know, it's not a very common thing now. So that whole reference and the howling thing would probably be lost on some people. And then you get the space truckers telling their story, and William Hurt is sitting right there amongst a bunch of people that look just like the crew of Alien.
I absolutely the guy telling the story is riveting.
Yes, he's awesome.
He is so engaging. If he had a YouTube channel, I would watch it. Right?
Absolutely.
If he had a live stream, I would watch him do stories like this.
And it's so funny because you know he's like having these stomach pains and all this stuff is happening, and this thing comes up and says, "Hey, he's starting to feel so bad or whatever." He says, "Get this man some water." "What am I ass? Get this man some Pepto-Bismol."
That is another line that has been used many, many times.
And then right here, he's like, "Oh God, not again." Because if anybody knows, obviously, William Hurt was the man in the movie Alien who had the first alien bust out of his gut in the very first movie. And then he goes singing the Warner Brothers theme, right? "Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime gal."
I love that you can see
the sticks underneath.
You can see the stick moving up and down. But before that, this is when before it even came out, that's when Barf had asked, "What did he have?"
Oh, he had the special. Change mine to the soup. And then this happens, and then they're both like, "Check, please." And then you know you get back on the ship, and they're hungry, and so he gives them the fortune cookie, and then he opens the fortune, and the fortune cookie reveals that Yogurt tells him, "You're a prince." And just in case you wanted to know, in the dashboard, I got some liquid Schwartz, and you can use it for fuel. You're good to go. And magically, they show up in all new threads. I don't know where they got these threads and the hairdos, but suddenly between the diner and the planet, they've transformed into these people.
But you have who's ever hosting the ceremony, who's so aggravated.
Yes.
And he's like, "Holy moly!"
Oh, yes. To join these people in holy moly.
And then they come walking in with their newfangled threads.
Yeah, but right before that, they go walking out again, and that's when the princess learns. Right before she goes up there, King Roland tells her, "No, they only took 248 space bucks for gas, lunch, and tolls."
Which, as a kid, I was like, I never caught the tolls till I watched it this time, and I went, "Oh, I know what tolls are now." I don't know what a fucking toll was back then.
Man, you lived a sheltered life, man. I'm just gonna say.
We don't have tolls in Michigan.
I mean, we got tolls everywhere I've lived, in DC and Oregon and in Texas.
We didn't have them here.
You've got a toll road there, I'm sure.
We don't have any toll roads in Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, nope. Not one.
And so he's like, "Yeah, I'm a prince, and so let's get married." And he's like, "Yeah, you know, who are you?" "Barf." "What's your full name?" "Bartholomew." "Are you the groom?" "No, stand over there."
He's so proud of the name too.
Bartholomew.
Hey,
So they
all right.
so they get married, and then we go on. We go to we get the head falling on the planet. Yep.
Yeah.
And you get these guys in ape costumes riding up on their horses. What's that coming out of her nose? Spaceballs? Oh shit. There goes the planet.
And I believe that is the end. Yes, Woody. No, like we're the Motor City, I guess, and I guess they really want us to have shitty roads as much as possible. So we have no tolls here. So I never knew what a toll was. Other than when I went to, when I started traveling for work and stuff like that. So I didn't know what a toll was. I mean, we don't pay to get to Canada.
I don't know about that, Pop Blender. Mel Brooks is very particular about the movies that he makes, and if he had anything to say about it, he would make it decent. And then, in fact, there was a pseudo sequel in Spaceballs, the animated series. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to check that out because it was mildly entertaining. It came out about the same time as was it 8-Bit or whatever, the video game cartoon that was in the vein of Futurama type of thing, but it was all based on 8-Bit video games. And all that was done on either Comedy Network or one of the video game networks at the time when they were actually had a network for those things. G4 TV. That's what I was trying to think of.
But all in all, I like the movie.
It's hilarious. Today it's hilarious. Back then it was hilarious. I laugh at it every time.
I don't think the good guys are funny at all. And I stand by that. But the Spaceballs are so good that it if you cut all them out, I wouldn't care. Like they serve no purpose. Like you don't really need a storyline for a lot of the jokes that were
right.
Said. Other than you need to know something that was going on. I've always said that I thought that the good guys were. It was just they weren't funny at all. There was there were a few scenes that made me laugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought John Candy brought something to it. I thought Joan Rivers brought something to it. The interaction between Lone Star and the Princess was, borderline melodramatic, but at the same time still funny. I loved all of the Druish jokes.
Yeah, I think that stands out a little bit more today, but as a kid, it didn't really. As someone younger, I mean, I kind of knew that it was, or I assumed that it had to do with Jewish, but I didn't really put two and two together, because there is a large Jewish population around here, but not where I live. So you assume that that Druish is supposed to be Jewish. There's really nothing else that it could be, right?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, but the Spaceballs are just every character in there is hilarious. From all the assholes to Colonel Sanders to obviously Dark Helmet and Mel Brooks. Even when he's yogurt, he's not even, I don't think, that funny.
No, you know what? I really, the only thing that I liked about yogurt was the merchandising scene.
Yeah, and yogurt, I mean, again, he kind of creeps me out too. Not as much as, Pizza the Hut.
I think he's meant to, right?
Yeah. It's that gold paint. Like I just think like they spray painted him. Although I know you can't do that because he would die because his body couldn't breathe. But that's what I think.
Ask Virginia Hay about that. because she almost died on the set of Farscape because she wore head to toe body blue makeup and she was half naked or naked in many of the scenes in Farscape in blue makeup the entire time. And she quit the show because she was literally had health problems from all the pore blockage.
Ugh. What I'm not sure. It's probably noon. As soon as I get the Amazon link, I'll pop that up there.
Well, I heard the Dark Side sold out in about 2 seconds. So
Oh really?
they that went up today, I think, and was gone like immediately.
Yeah.
So everybody wanted that new Dark Side for sure.
I saw another picture of the Dark Side. I'm like, he just looks fat. he looks fat.
Come on, man. Darkseid was a chunky dude.
I know, but like, I think it was the angle of it. It didn't make him look like a big dude. It made him look fat, and I was like, "That's not a good look, man. That you should be like, can we get a different angle?"
Right.
I never thought the gangster eating Pizza the Hut was very funny. It still doesn't. No, it's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
And I think it's meant to creep you out. All right.
Yeah.
I think it does the job of being maybe the most disturbing part of any movie ever, and it's in a comedy. All right. You know,
I mean,
I'm sorry,
he's
Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill has nothing on that scene. All right.
He's eating his boss right there in front of everybody.
And like
as his boss is literally cooking himself.
The bubbles popping, whatever.
And it got on his hat and his face, and he's like rubbing his face in it as he's eating.
And as he was eating it, I was like physically like, oh.
Yes.
Like how like, oh,
that's so gross.
Yeah. He looks like, yes, he looks like Peter Griffin.
And I was wrong before. That's Dom DeLuise that was Pizza the Hut.
Oh my God, that's a name.
Right?
Wow.
It's unfair to the payor, but not to the payee.
Loki, yeah. Gooey is probably the best way to phrase what Pizza the Hut was. He was gooey. Ugh. God, so disgusting. You're delicious. I don't know how he did it. Like, oh.
It's so gross.
Because you're like, was that a real piece of pizza? Or was it like melted cheese on it? Like, what the hell? Oh. Oh my God, that was disgusting.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I love this movie. It is, I mean, quite honestly, two of the best parody movies ever are Spaceballs and Galaxy Quest. You really can't top those for parody movies that became their own thing, essentially, their own universe type of thing. Those comedic timing things that happen in those movies are phenomenal.
I think Galaxy Quest is it became far past a parody movie.
Yeah.
It was a parody movie of Star Trek, clearly, but the way that it was done, I think what's
the Orville?
The Orville. It started off as this total parody, but by season 2 they were like
they got serious with it.
Thing.
Yeah, no, and Seth had that idea in mind is, hey, we'll hook them with this parody idea, but I have some concepts that I want to explore that Star Trek isn't doing right now. So he was writing a better Star Trek show than Star Trek was writing at the time.
A more realistic Star Trek show, as in like how you would, you wouldn't always act like you're military all the time because they weren't a military vessel, right?
Right.
And with the Orville, when you looked at the Orville ship, you're like, that's not a parody looking ship.
No. I got one of those what Eagle Moss. I got an Eagle Moss version of it to put up there with my Star Trek ship. So I have a whole bunch of Star Trek Eagle Moss, and I put the Orville right next to it.
Yeah, Radnot brings it up too.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, the Orville was a great TV show. I loved
did they
that TV
cancel it?
show.
Because I know it went to Hulu, I think.
Yeah, and that's essentially what killed it. I had heard that they were working on a season 4, but it would have come out by now if it was going to happen. I think after the 3rd season, which was on Hulu, there were no legs left in it. It was popular enough, but not enough to garner more interest.
Yeah.
And I think it was also at the same time that Disney was buying Fox. And so they were buying Hulu. And I think Disney said, nah, fuck it. We're done.
Yeah.
They had to fold their money into wasting it on a whole bunch of Star Wars and Marvel garbage that nobody watched. And they lost billions and billions of dollars on that.
Which I would much rather seen the Orville on
Yeah.
Disney Plus continuing the seasons but Disney has canceled a bunch of stuff. I mean, we talked about it before, things we watched with the kids. Again, if you've ever watched Big Shot, which it's a basketball show, Olivia and I loved it. And in the show, when he's trying to reconnect with his daughter, he does this what is it? Keep safe. I gotta find it really quick here.
I know Seth tried to
TCKS. Take care, keep safe, right?
Oh yeah.
And she was like, Dad, that's not anything. And he's like, I'm gonna make it something. So one of the acronyms, how we do LOL or whatever, his was he tried doing this TCKS. I still send it to my daughter and she sends it back to me. And I hate that they canceled the show because it was about to get really good because he was about to go back to
yeah. I know Seth was trying to sell it to NBC Universal or somebody else. He was trying to shop the show around to get it renewed for another season because he still had such a passion for it, but it never got picked up.
Papa Linder says Galaxy Quest isn't memorable, but it's a better movie as a whole. Yeah, I don't think you have memorable lines, but
by Gramthar's hammer, I will avenge you. I don't know. It didn't have as many, maybe, but the Thermians. It's a great movie. The Thermians, the storyline, how much of an ass Tim Allen's character is, and they totally played off the William Shatner stereotypes and his grudge with Leonard Nimoy. They put into Alan Rickman's character. They didn't dare to go across the George Takei, William Shatner issues, but they got close.
Okay. Are we talking about did something happen with Emily? Because I can only imagine that's got to be the news because she was not in.
Hey, it's all speculation at this point. We don't know anything. She could have just turned off her IG account.
Yeah.
Her IG account is no longer there. She could have just turned that off because she's so busy with stuff right now. She wasn't mentioned on the Joe live stream and the social media thing.
Hold on. Wait a minute. So 3-Star is saying no, not that.
Oh, okay.
But I'm gonna send you a link, 3-Star, because now I want to know what you're talking about. And fuck it, I don't sleep, so who the fuck cares? Right?
Is it a different Emily or
Viper Island leaked the list of stuff coming in Yojo June?
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay. The stuff that we all knew about already, or
I mean, he always has speculation. Everyone has speculation.
Everybody's
I'm still waiting for fucking Dr. Mindbender in a fucking trouble bubble.
Right? Exactly. He got that one so right. Maybe he's right about these too.
But you know what? I can't.
Oh, Island.
Oh,
that's different.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna send you a link just because now I'm wondering.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no, we we flip that in our head because that's what we're thinking all the time, right? We see what we want to
like,
see.
Why doesn't know shit? Why?
No,
well,
but Terry might have something there.
well, okay. So I do not subscribe to. Hold on, I'm gonna send you a link. But Miss Carrie June just showed up on my Instagram, and she's so fucking hot. So I gotta look at her ass before I send you this link. Why do I have 7 messages? Holy shit! Oh wait a minute, 3 are from 3-star draw. Thank you.
There we go.
All right, here you go. What is this? Link list. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep.
Retro carded Cobra Commander.
Okay. We
Retro
knew that was
carded
coming.
Cobra Trooper. Storm Shadow version 2.
Ooh.
Alpine, we already knew. Iron Grenadier Bat, we knew. Mad Marauder, Sergeant Slaughter. Oh, that's crazy. Didn't know that one was coming.
Yes, you did.
60th Anniversary Marine, 60th Anniversary Halo Jumper. They hinted at that one.
Yep.
And Cobra Stinger with Driver, we all kind of knew that was coming. So the only one...
The Storm Shadow version 2 is the only one we didn't know about.
Retro carded Cobra Trooper.
Well, okay. Yeah.
But, I mean, you kind of knew that it was going to come.
Yeah, we knew that was going to come eventually.
We didn't know it was a Halo Jumper. But it makes sense because they're giving us everything.
Right.
You're going to reuse that stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, the Halo Jumper is going to be close to the Diver, right? And then you just modify him a little bit, throw some different gear on him. Hope that gear looks good because, Bobby will tear it apart with those pouches.
You mean bags?
Whatever.
The Marine is the one I'm interested in.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, is he going to come with a proper cover? How's he going to? What are they going to load him out with? Because, quite honestly, the soldier, they could make the Marine look like a little bit like the soldier.
I never liked Dress Blues gung ho.
I don't think they're going to do Dress Blues.
No, I don't think so right now.
They will eventually,
but I never liked Dress Blues gung ho because it was a boring figure. Now, if you give me a Dress Blues figure that has 3 different faces, a cap that I can put on one of the gung hos that I can drop on that.
Yep.
Awesome, because now you can have 3 Dress Blue or 4 Dress Blues, people. And I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe she does. And maybe that's all it is. I don't know. She's working on a lot of projects or has been working on a lot of projects, but Hasbro also just laid off 1,100 people. So when she's missing from a name list where she normally is on and her Instagram is shut down, people are starting to question things.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about it though. So,
and again, the speculation, because that's what people do. And it's not that, it's not that hard to jump to that conclusion. A matter of fact, I think if you watch Office Space, it is one of the jump to conclusions. Did Emily get fired? It's like right there.
No. That's the Kathleen Kennedy was fired.
Well, that's another one on it.
Yes.
The other one was Dr. Mindbender and Trouble Bubble.
Yes, Dr. Mindbender and Trouble Bubble. Kathleen Kennedy was fired. Emily was fired. Lenny was fired. That's also the other one that's on there too because, Bobby. Anyway.
No. That's the special one. That's we hope.
Whatever.
So, just quickly looking at this list here, we all knew retro carded Cobra Commander. That's like that's the worst kept hid secret.
Yeah, absolutely. Woody, she's been doing a pretty darn good job. She's a good hype person. Whether she knows the brand or not, she gets involved. She learns the brand, and she gets out there and she sells the brand.
But let
And
me ask.
so,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
go ahead.
No, but let me ask you this: if you're Mattel or Spin, what are they?
Spin Masters.
Spin Master. You're another big company, right? And whether it be a toy company or something else, you look at her. Say what you want. Before she came onto the GI Joe brand, it was not doing what it was doing.
Right.
But you look at her and you say, okay, she's in charge of the hottest property, and she was handling Ghostbusters, Power Rangers, which has now been shifted because they're not doing Power Ranger stuff. They've given that to Playmates,
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons. Why wouldn't another company want to go after her? So maybe this was a, hey, your contract's up.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be interested in jumping here? We're not going to throw 4 lines at you. We're going to allow you to be in one seat and push one line, or you're going to be in charge of all the lines. Like, you're going to be in charge of all the managers,
Right.
There's a lot of speculation because no matter what people think, but she was doing a lot. And
Yep.
I don't know why people hate her so much.
I've never understood it. There was one line that she said at one point that I was like, that's probably not the best way to go. But besides that, if you understand what she's actually saying and don't take her out of context, then she's pumped for everything. She's pumped how well it's doing and everything. I don't know.
She's worked really hard.
She has. She's done her homework.
If she was, I truly do believe that if she was a male, or she was maybe a little bit prettier, it wouldn't have this issue. Now, if you're like, hey, I mean, I really don't care. I don't like seeing her show up there and look like she's completely disheveled.
I don't like the pajama look.
Yeah, that is a fair criticism because that's like, you're in a professional environment. Yep. I don't care about the pink hair or whatever, but sometimes it does look like she kind of just rolled out of bed and is like on her way to the facility, especially that interview with Sergeant Slaughter. Like that was, but that doesn't change how she did her job.
No, it doesn't. And that's a millennial professionalism thing. I had to get on one of my employees recently. She showed up in some inappropriate attire for the clinic, and I'm like, let's not do that.
All right, so I'm looking at the list here, and the fact that Chris from the Full Force, he says, looks like Terry has gone a bit further with some of the leaked details and added that retail wave of 4 to boot. So again, Chris would not be running with this if he didn't, because he already knows.
Yeah, he's already in the loop on it.
He can't say what it is.
Yep.
But if someone else runs with it, so retro carded Cobra Commander, which is like the worst kept secret.
Yep.
I mean, Lenny was like, when I asked him about it, he was like, "Oh, I don't know if we can." I'm like, "I thought you guys announced it."
Yeah, so did
I. That was like 8 months ago, right? Like,
right. I mean, I thought that was a given. I mean, once he came out with the Mickey Mouse logo, you knew that they were going to come out with another version just like him.
Oh, okay. Hold on. There's another one that he sent too. So then we have the retro carded Cobra Trooper.
Yep.
I hope they give him proper weapons.
But so, what weapon do you want him to have? Do you want him to have the sniper rifle or the AK? Because the AK came with the officer, and the sniper rifle
came with the officer.
Yeah, the AK came with the officer.
Both. I don't give a shit, but it's a retro carded Cobra Trooper. Again, my feeling is if you're doing retro cards, you should do very close to what the O-ring was. Now, we want more than. I mean, I think you should give more than just a rifle. So,
right.
You can give multiple guns. I don't want those guns with the big fucking knobs on them.
Yeah, no, really get rid of those. Yeah, we don't need the knobby guns anymore. The knobby Nerf weapons. But it's a great idea for them to put out another Cobra Trooper because if you didn't get the infantry or if you didn't get the Cobra Island, this will be your opportunity. And then hopefully they'll put like the retro Snake Eyes, web gear on him, right?
Yeah.
So they'll put something like his web gear on it.
Yeah, it's big knob guns.
Big dump guns. Whew. That's what she said.
Storm Shadow version 2.
I'm super excited. That's my favorite version of Storm Shadow ever.
I have a hard time picking which one I like more, but now it doesn't say retro.
No, it doesn't, and so
there's only 2 retro carded figures. So I feel like there's one missing because there's always 3. But why would you give Storm Shadow version 2 retro card before you do? Because you can do a Storm Shadow version 2 and give almost the same accessories, but not do red because red is kind of stupid. I thought it was stupid as a kid. I think it's stupid now.
Yeah, no.
But then you go back to the retro card and do it that way.
Well, so if they're just throwing it out there as Storm Shadow version 2, and you're thinking about the classified motif, and you want to make him similar to the original version 2, then maybe, just maybe, we get some tattoos on this one.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll ever go back to those tattoos?
I wanted to say no originally, but the fact that
Jinx?
No, the fact that Haya did that.
Oh yeah.
It makes me wonder if that's something they would be willing to do.
Well, I'll throw this out there. I mean, look at the Jinx figure, right? The Jinx figure has a bunch of tattoos on her arms also. Yeah. And so Lenny's all about the tattoos. And so if he wanted to keep those tattoos, he could make a version 2 Storm Shadow with a bunch more tattoos and then do a retro version.
Okay, hold on here. See if I can actually bring this up so then I can look at the next list that he had sent me. Good thing I don't sleep because that would be stupid. Sleep is stupid.
Sleep is dumb. Sleep is for the weak.
Yes. We're all sleeping, we're dead.
Yep.
All right. Present this really quick. So here's everything. So Storm Shadow version 2, I can't believe it's taken this long for them to do, considering they did version 3 before any of them. Alpine we knew was coming.
Yep.
Which I'm very interested to see how Alpine looks. We knew Iron Grenadier. Iron Grenadier Bat was
that was Chris McLeod's accidental leak.
And I do believe that it was an accident.
It totally was. Totally was an accident. He totally slipped up on that. I was there when he did it live. I was like, ooh.
We have Mad Marauder Slaughter.
Which we've seen the packaging for that, right? We've seen the overseas versions of that, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
60th anniversary. Now, I'm interested to see if that's just going to be a kind of like a redeco of the Action Soldier.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm wondering.
I hope not.
Well, I think that the Halo jumper is going to be a redeco, basically, of the diver. I mean, it makes sense.
Airborne.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, they have Crazy Legs coming out.
Well, they do have Crazy Legs. That's right. That's true.
So there's your jump gear. All that stuff with the Dragonfly. And it fits perfect.
So if you take that jump gear,
mold's going to be in.
If you take that jump gear from Crazy Legs and put it on the diver's body, you get that sleek body or whatever, and I could see them doing that.
Oh, fuck. All right, hold on. Okay. So the other thing that he sent me is from the Ruckus.
Okay.
Stinger confirmed, ordered from my store, as well as Sergeant Slaughter, classic Cobra Commander. Notes insinuated a hooded version.
Well, so I mean, we were talking about that recently too, right? That there's been some lapse in certain types of communication that would lead us to believe that it's coming. And I've softened my opinion on it. I was like, okay, maybe they've caved on this one finally.
Yeah. And we all had, and it's almost my biggest fear because then all of a sudden people are gonna be like, "We told you," and I was like, "We never said they couldn't do it.
Right.
We said they're not doing it. They were told they can't."
Right.
Uh, a
Yeah,
Cobra
but
Trooper.
nobody's going to remember that part of the conversation. They're only going to remember you said they can't do it.
Oh yeah, I know. A Cobra Trooper of some kind.
Yep.
A 60th anniversary Marine sniper. So that means we're going to see the reuse again of God, I hope it's um, Lowlight's gun and not
Yep.
Shooter's gun because that thing is stupid.
Yeah. Agreed.
And pilot Halo jumper. So that leads right back to the gear that comes with the Dragonfly.
Yep.
And again, it fits because the molds are going to be done at the same time. Uh, who is this? He's just fielding a shit ton of questions because of this. I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, he was talking to Terry a bit ago.
Okay.
Is that this guy, the Ruckus?
No.
No,
Terry's Island Viper.
Yeah, I don't know. Island Viper hasn't found me yet, so I don't watch his stuff.
He's entertaining.
No, he is. For some odd reason, his stuff doesn't show up on my timeline. You know how it is. I haven't watched enough, so it doesn't show up.
Yeah.
It's like, God forbid I have to watch 18. I subscribed to the fucking channel. Why do I have to watch 18 videos before you start showing it to me, YouTube?
Right. Yeah. They yeah. Whatever.
Let alone I can tell you now about every fucking unknown fucking mystery murder from a fucking child because, or from a teenager or from a woman because of all the fucking shit I watch like that. But this is real interesting. And like I said, we have discussed the Hooded Cobra Commander as of recently.
Yeah.
And the fact that, we talked about how Chris McLeod has come back on that and he's not flipping out. It kind of says, hey, you know what? It seems like maybe there's a, Hasbro has changed their stance on it.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone here right now is going to jump on me about it, but I already know that there's going to be people in the chat if they do a Hooded Cobra Commander that's going to say, you said they'd never come out. And it's not what we said.
Nope.
It's not ever what I said. I got tired of hearing it because until Hasbro says that they can do it, they couldn't because they would have done a Hooded Cobra Commander by now.
They would have done it right from the beginning, right?
But I will say this. I cannot imagine that they would drop a Cobra Commander retro card that's hooded before people get the armored helmet.
I agree with that. I think that's right. Because,
and the two different colors.
Yeah, I mean, it would make more sense just to redeco his tank one with the regular logo and put that out there, and then later on do another one that's hooded in the darker blue. So you get the more navy colored blue, and you get the hood. It's a different color, and you put that out and make that another one on a retro card or not a retro card or whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, Loki. Well, we just said the reason why two heads wouldn't work because one. I mean, Hooded Cobra Commander is a dark blue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting to think about.
Well, we'll see.
No, the Rattler HasLab. There's really only been one person that's been saying that, and that is Viper Island. I'm not saying that the Rattler is the HasLab.
Oh no, I think a lot of people have been saying the Rattler's going to be the HasLab.
I haven't heard anyone else that is.
I mean,
a lot of people want it.
Well, just about everybody I talked to has been saying, yeah, we're pretty confident that the Rattler is going to be the HasLab. The second runner up is the Hydrofoil, but
yeah, Chad did do a video about it. But Viper Island has been saying it for quite some time. But then again, I told Matthew I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna pull out my Bellamy my was book Bellamy book, and
Bellomo.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna read every single character and say these are all rumored to come, and then
Yep.
eventually I'm fucking right.
Yep.
Right?
Bellomo.
I told you that this figure was coming. Go back.
Mark Bellomo's books are awesome. I love his books.
Uh, I I think people, and I don't want to speak for you. People want Hooded Cobra Commander because they haven't given it to them.
Yeah.
For me, him with his mask is still better.
You know,
I want both versions, but
yeah, I got the Toy Box Customs uh, version for classified Cobra Commander for the Snake Supreme, and I think that hooded Cobra Commander on that Snake Supreme with the cloak with the color decos really works for that figure. And that's the only way I use my Snake Supreme is with that head on it, because it looks perfect for him going out and, being royalty, right?
yeah.
So, it works.
But this is real interesting. God forbid I need to go to bed though.
I do need to go to bed because I do have to get up for work tomorrow.
So do I. And I have a live stream tomorrow with Allison.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And not even that late, so I wouldn't even have time to come home and take a nap. That's a lie. I probably will. But the Marine Sniper is very interesting.
Yeah.
But that's what Marines are known as, snipers, right? I mean, not all of them, but that's
not always.
No, but that's one of their like big things, like that. There's a Marine sniper. I mean, I know there's snipers in all the branches, but where Army has Delta, their special forces, I believe, are referred to as Marine snipers.
Yeah, not sure, but riflemen. Yeah, there's always riflemen, but rifleman's not the same thing as a sniper.
No. I'm talking about the special forces.
No, I was just commenting. Loki mentioned it, so.
Oh yeah, they're all jarheads too.
Yeah. All Marine are riflemen, sure. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if you do have a Marine coming out, that might and they've already said Leatherneck, right?
Well, they've somebody's name dropped Leatherneck, so we know Leatherneck's coming eventually.
So there's your body for that.
Yeah.
More than likely.
Yeah.
We've already got the pilot Halo jumper. Everything is already there in the Dragonfly.
Darren, I don't know that they're dropping the Stinger in June. I think it's probably a pipeline reveal. They've got to change gears and redeco and do all that stuff. I don't think it's going to be a pre-order in June. I think it's a name drop reveal or a render or whatever.
Emily did say there would be another vehicle before the end of the year.
Right. But, is that the despoiler? Is that the Stinger? Is that,
I would assume
the Snowcat, because the Snowcat's still on the list, right?
Yeah, but they need something to tow the HMS.
Yeah.
And not everyone has the HISS tank.
Well, we have something to tow the HMS. It's called the Vamp.
If they don't name drop Budo, I might consider my first Valor's figure.
He did drop some pictures of that, and that looked pretty cool.
It looks nice.
I'm not going to lie. His Budo figure looks pretty cool.
I agree 100% with you. It does look pretty cool. But he's not making ninjas. Just remember that.
He's never going to make a ninja. So he says.
But I'll make a samurai with... And I'll make fake Power Rangers.
The not Power Rangers. Yeah. When's that movie coming out again?
Probably the same weekend that the Valorverse movie did. Oh, fuck, man.
That was.
There may or may not be a chance they don't like me.
May or may not be a chance. Yes. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
all jokes aside, that Budo figure, it looked really good.
Yeah, it does for sure.
His stands, I mean, if you don't see the GI Joe logo in it, then I don't know what to tell you. It's right
I-
there.
It's a reverse of the Rise of Cobra logo, so it's not the same thing.
It looks like this. Yeah. I mentioned it to a few people, and they all saw it. And I even saw people make comments about it in some of the GI Joe forums. Even in
Ed
the
said that he saw something similar before that, and I'm thinking, are you thinking the Rise of Cobra logo, or are you thinking something else? Show me what you're
there's
talking
another
about.
star that is another GI Joe star that's very similar.
Oh, okay.
Very similar, but I don't know if that's what Ed was talking about.
Oh, okay.
But very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. But no, that fake Budo figure looks really good.
Yeah, no, that looks good. You know, I mean, like I said, I mean, Bobby makes quality product. He makes good figures. I like them. I just don't have as much of a need for them anymore, but I'll pick up a couple here and there. I'm interested in his Colonel when it comes out. I'm curious about his larger format body styles if that ever comes out next year. So I'm curious to see what he's doing.
3 stars. The other vendor that had the hooded Cobra Commander part mentioned he's already sold all the stingers he's ordered.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got stingers, they're going to be gone, right? People are going to want those first, and if they see them pop up somewhere, they'll take them.
But I mean, I don't follow the ruckus. Maybe I should.
Okay, yeah, he's saying that Terry has actually ordered the stingers, so you know that would speculate that they're coming out in the next 3-4 months.
Well, hold on. Let me go check my orders for tomorrow.
Are you getting all those retro figures delivered tomorrow like everyone else?
Well, I'm going to look and see. Amazon. My orders. They are arriving today by 10 p.m.
Okay.
But they haven't shipped. So,
right.
Usually, if something hasn't shipped, it doesn't end up at your house.
It's got to ship first.
That's what the rumor is. So, unless if they're sitting at the Amazon fulfillment warehouses here in Michigan, and there's many of them.
It could be sitting waiting for the drone to drop it, right? Did you hear about the Firefly debacle with BBTS?
No.
So a lot of people were, if they paid with PayPal, were getting shipping notifications when Mezco sent their shipment to BBTS, and it said that their shipment was going here, but that's not your address. And so they were thinking, is this fraud? And they were talking about canceling the payment or stopping the payment that was made to BBTS because it was being shipped from Mezco to BBTS and then BBTS to you. And the shipping apps were catching those codes go by, and they were going back to PayPal, and PayPal's like, oh, this is fishy. Maybe we should cancel this because it doesn't look right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Wow. Thank you, Thanos, for sending me a picture of Wood Bunny, too.
All right. I got to go, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you guys all. I will see you guys tomorrow where we wrap up the Power of the Force. Allison and I will be doing a May the Power of the Force wrap up. So we will see you then. I'm not playing the exit because it's after 1:00 in the morning. Take care, guys.
Good night.